Hey, good morning, Metropolis. It's now 5 after the hour of 6 a.m. in the big monster city.
Come on! Let's get pumped!
Not drinking any fucking Merlot! What can I say? The camera loves me.
Shall we begin?
After you, Junior.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Logged It. Episode number 55. We're talking best actors, actresses working today. And I think we got a fun panel here for you. People who know things about the actors and the actresses. Boatman, you're here as always. Although I haven't seen you in like 2 weeks. I took like 2 weeks off, and you took 2 weeks off. And now we're back together again. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Good to be back. I missed on this show, so I'm happy to be back.
Beautiful. Kirk is here. Kirk, I want to know on a scale of 1 to 10, how much does this thumbnail piss you off?
Oh yeah, I see. There's some good stuff on there, but there's one frowny face that really negates anything good going on there.
No frowning allowed.
No frowning allowed in Kirk's film.
Frowning is allowed. Only frowning, not so cool.
Fair enough. Scott, you're here. Welcome to the show. I haven't seen you in a while, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good. You know, now more than ever, we need to be on Florence Pugh's side, is all I'm saying, Kirk. Just look past her frowny face and look at what is going on in the real world. And we can all stand Florence, at least in this moment.
That's fair. Jake, you are back after you were on the director's episode, right? Now you're back for this one? Is that
no, I was on the doggos, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I literally asked Maggie before the show started. I was trying to come up with the final topic for next month. And I said, Maggie, if you could watch one episode of Logged It, what would the topic be? And she goes, dogs. I'm like, damn it, woman, we did that already. What the hell? But she came up with something else that was good. So you'll find out later. Oh, plugging it. But Jake, anyway, how are you?
I was better before I found out Kirk has a problem with Florence Pugh, the May Queen herself. I'm good. My internet is a lot better than it was the last time I was here. So
that's fair.
Hopefully don't expect any cutouts. That's really my main concern, but I'm always down to talk movies. That's fun for me. So a weird day off for me these days. So I'm excited.
We will see how my internet holds up because it has been atrocious the last few weeks. So if I drop out, Kaleb Boatman will have you completely covered. But yes, very excited. Tim, borrow a pair of glasses from Maggie.
Oh,
kids, I don't get it.
Because we're all wearing glasses.
Oh, sorry, I got perfect vision. Anyway, so it's gonna be a fun show. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, so let's kick it off with our favorite movie that we logged this week. Boatman, let's hear from you first. What's your favorite movie you logged this week?
I was it's been a while, so I didn't know like how far back I wanted to go. But I'm gonna choose something I watched fairly recently. This is one of those movies that I've never heard anybody talk about, and man, especially this community. I'm going with The Collector from 1965. This is a Terrence Stamp movie, and this is a really fascinating thriller. Essentially, the premise is that Terrence Stamp is this very like socially awkward loner who kidnaps a woman and basically like keeps her hauled up in like this kind of cellar-y area, like cellar type area, and basically just like keeps her there. And basically, from his perspective, until she falls in love with him, and she's just trying to escape. It's basically kind of like a proto-Misery a little bit. It's got like that same type of vibe, and it is one of those movies where you are just like, you want to look away. Like it's not like it's from 65. It's not particularly violent or anything, but it's just so like skin crawlingly creepy, and Stamp is really good. This is a really underrated film. I can't believe I've never heard anyone talk about this.
I have seen the late 2000s film The Collector from the creators of the Saw franchise. But no, I have not seen this. But I like the Stamp. So it sounds like an interesting premise. So I'm into it. Scott, have you seen this?
Let me ask you this, Boatman. Would this be considered like a single location movie or?
Not. You can make an argument like goes. You know what? If you want to make the argument that it's a single location movie, there's like 2 or 3 scenes outside of, but it's pretty much actually in the one location, or at least it's on the same property. Pretty much the entire thing is on one property, even though there's technically different locations. So do it that way you will.
Yeah, I asked because I have to watch a single location movie for my movie watching challenge this week that I'm doing. So I was gonna watch Autumn Sonata. We'll see, and maybe a game time decision between these two. But yeah, no, it sounds really good. I mean, Terrence Stamp plays a great creep. So and yeah, William Wyler directing this is kind of crazy.
And I'm not a Wyler guy. I like this, and I think his direction is great.
Kirk, have you seen this?
I have not, but as soon as you said Terrence Stamp, my ears perked up and I added to the watch list. It looks kind of hot in this too, but yeah, William Wyler directing. This is definitely under the radar. Definitely check it out.
Jake, what about you?
I have not seen this yet, but definitely something that I'm interested in. I mean, coming off, I recently watched a different 60s William Wyler movie that I really loved called The Children's Hour that most people probably know better than this. That was fantastic. So if it's anywhere near that good, and I also like the Stamp. So yeah.
Gotta love the Stamp. All right, Scott, let's move over to you. What's your favorite movie log this week?
So I'm going to talk about 2 2022 movies for each section tonight. But I'm going back a little further than a week, but a movie that I saw in theaters that I think is super underrated for movies that's come out this year is Emily the Criminal. This is Aubrey Plaza, who plays this woman who is kind of a struggling, in her late 20s, trying to make it. And she gets turned on to this guy who is doing shady activity. Basically, someone she works with says, "Hey, you should go see this guy. If you want to make a quick buck." And she does. And basically the guy says, all you have to do is go in, use this stolen credit card, buy a TV, and deliver the TV to me. And that's it. But then she does it. And then the guy's like, okay, well, if you want to make more money, you can come back tomorrow when we're going to do something else. But of course, it's all illegal. And she ends up getting a little bit over her head. The guy, Theo Rossi, plays the guy that runs the or that she kind of gets involved with in the organization. He's really good too. He's really charismatic in the movie. But it's a good thriller, first of all. Like, you really are on the edge of your seat most of the time. But it's also a good movie about like people in this age group nowadays struggling in, jobs where they don't make a lot of money, and a world and society that expects a lot more than they are able to provide. And so there's some good like economic undercurrents going through the movie. Like, it actually has something to say. It actually has some substance to it. And though it is a thriller, there are good like quiet moments between the characters as well. And like I said, I think Theo Rossi's really good, but Aubrey Plaza is phenomenal in this movie. This is 2 times in 3 years now, between Black Bear and now this movie, where I think she's given like amazing dramatic performances, which you would have not expected from her, obviously, with her early days in comedy. But yeah, I think this movie's excellent. It's pretty short, so I think it's only a little over 90 minutes. It definitely held my attention throughout the runtime, and the performances are fantastic. So definitely check this one out.
Yeah, I'm checking right now. I feel like I saw that this already popped up on Vudu as being able to rent because it wasn't playing anywhere near me, and I really wanted to see it because I saw the trailer and thought it looked really interesting. I'm checking right now to see if it's on Vudu. I don't see it on like the main page, so maybe in a couple weeks it'll be on there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it. I've heard only good things about this, so I'm glad to hear someone I actually know say something good about it. Boatman, have you heard of or seen or want to see this?
No. Well, I actually do kind of want to see it, but based on that description, love me some Aubrey Plaza. But yeah, no, definitely thought this was maybe connected to Emily in Paris, but it isn't.
Is that show on Netflix?
Yeah, that's a white woman show on Netflix.
Yeah, she's getting very excited about it right now. Kirk, have you seen this?
Sorry, I'm multitasking here. No, I have not. I saw some brief previews for it. It looks kind of interesting. It looks kind of like that modern take on the thriller, like Scott said, just kind of like the undertones of like the desperation of needing to do it and like being in those shoes. Sounds kind of fun, and it's something I haven't seen Aubrey Plaza do, so I'm definitely interested in checking it out.
And what about you, Jake?
I've heard about it. I have not seen it yet, though. I've been on the Aubrey Plaza can act train since Ingrid Goes West, which I think is a movie I like more than almost anybody I know. I really love Ingrid Goes West. So it doesn't surprise me that she's given another really good dramatic performance. And I am a sucker for millennials with money problems movies. So I'm definitely interested. I have to, but everything else theatrically takes a back seat before I see another movie that might come up later from somebody else who knows. But yeah, interested though.
All right. I'll go next. I'm also going with a 2022 movie, so maybe this is it. I'm going with 3,000 Years of Longing. Is that it, Jake?
That is the one, yes.
There you go. I actually had a really good week. There were a couple things that I could have chosen, but we've talked about them on the show. I do want to shout it out, though. I really liked Hustle, the Adam Sandler basketball movie. Was not expecting to dig it. I really liked it. I watched it in my hotel last night alone by myself on my phone, but I had a good time. Thought it was really, really good. But this, again, I think this is a movie that's going to go down as one that I appreciate more than I love, but I really enjoyed my time with it in the theater. It was not what I was expecting. I don't really know what I was expecting, but it wasn't quite this. Just the whole the way George Miller tells the story is super interesting, and Idris Elba can do it all. He can punch lions in the face, and now he's a genie granting wishes. Like, the man he doesn't miss people. And I really enjoyed his performance in here. Tilda Swinton's really, really great in the movie. The final act of it is kind of where I like it. It doesn't lose me. Like, I get what it's going for, and like, I like the message behind the movie, but it just kind of like it shifts from being one thing to something else with like 30 minutes left. And it didn't like totally work for me because I liked up to that point what was going on, but I still liked the movie overall. One of my favorites of the year. Really, really enjoyed it. George Miller's vision is just kind of like crazy. Like, the dude, I mean, he just like it's kind of crazy. Like, it's hard to put into words, but the man that, you know, can fucking do Happy Feet and then Mad Max and now this, and it's just like, it's crazy. And I loved that before the movie they did one of those like, "Hi, I'm George Miller, and thank you for the theater things," which I always love it when they do those, because he's just sitting there and he's like, "Thank you for coming to watch this film in the theater." And Maggie goes, "You're welcome, George. We're here for you." But I do have to say, movie fantastic. Like I said, I thought the visual effects were also really, really good for a movie that I would assume was not made for a ton of money. There's like one like glaringly terrible green screen moment, but otherwise I thought that the CGI and visual effects were really well done. So Visuals great, story great, movie great. But what tops it all, Maggie and I are sitting in the theater, right? We're watching this movie. And there's probably 20, 25 people in the theater, tops. And 2 seats down from us is this couple. And they sat down before the movie started. We knew they were there and everything. All of a sudden, in the middle of the movie, I just hear like a I don't even know what noise to call it. It was like I'm like, what the fuck is happening over there? I don't know what's going on. So I just keep focusing on the movie. Then all of a sudden I hear it again. And I look over and this woman is squeezing something into her popcorn tub. And Maggie leans over and goes, this woman is squeezing a bottle of Heinz mustard that she brought from home into her popcorn tub. Now, I've seen people do cheese. I've seen some weird things in my day, but somebody bringing a full bottle of mustard from their home refrigerator, and they were with someone too. Imagine going on a date and the guy buys a popcorn for you, and you're like, oh, thank you. And then you just dump an entire bottle of mustard in there. It was all I could think about for the second half of the film, which is a discredit to George Miller. I'm sorry, George, but it was nuts. And I had to get that story off my chest. Okay. Boatman, did you get to see this movie yet?
No, I haven't. But I've heard people kind of bickering about whether or not I will like it. But I'm very interested. I've heard it's basically like one person described it as Big Fish meets My Dinner with Andre, and that has me sold. I don't know if that's accurate.
No, I could see that. I could see that comparison.
I definitely thought about Big Fish watching it. Yeah.
Tim, I feel like you know my taste pretty well. Will I like this?
I don't think you'll hate it.
That's fair.
I think you're gonna be like, I think you'll appreciate it more than you'll like it.
Oh, okay.
I think you'll have a good time, but it's not going to be something you're going to want to run back to.
That's fair.
Scott, you saw this.
Yeah, it's really good. It's another one of these, like, this is the last gasp of this type of movie in theaters that we'll probably see, especially because it only made $2 million or something over the week, which I think we all saw it coming, but still, yeah. It's pretty sad. But yeah, the fact that he got this budget, this is an obvious example of somebody doing the one for him. He made the big blockbuster with Mad Max. It made a ton of money, and now he's like, now I'm going to make the movie. I get a lot of money, and I'm going to make the movie that I want. And it's great because it's George Miller. And it really, just like the structure of the movie, because so much of it is about storytelling, and there's stories being told within stories in the movie. It's just a great excuse for him to flex his ability for world building and his imagination just in general, which is boundless, I think, especially after you watch this. So I really enjoyed it. I thought the chemistry between Tilda Swinton and Idris Elba was great. There's one thing that happens in the third act, like a theme that kind of pops up all of a sudden, that I was like, oh, I didn't think this was really what the movie was about. That kind of came out of nowhere. That brings it down a little bit for me. I'm not going to say more than that, obviously, but yeah, it's really inventive. You definitely get swept away just especially in the first 2 acts of the actual stories being told. And yeah, I had a great time with it.
Kirk, did you see this?
I have, yeah. I'm trying to make plans to go this weekend. Kathy and I have some movie-going friends, and we're strategizing what we're going to see this weekend. I'm trying to talk everybody into this. It might be a little too weird for some of them. So I'm trying to rein everybody in and hopefully make that happen.
What's the other option on the table, though, Kirk?
The other option on the table is a Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul. So, which I also want to see.
That looks good too.
I'm going to be seeing
that's a good second choice, but I really want to see 3,000 Years.
Yeah. And Jake, you said you haven't seen this yet, but you seem excited.
Mad Max Fury Road is my favorite movie of the 2010s. So yes, I am excited for this. George Miller. I'll see anything the dude does after that. And just from what little I know about it, I've tried to stay away as much as I can so I can go in as cold as possible. But it really just seems like something that is just so in my wheelhouse, and I am definitely going to see it this weekend. I'm super excited for it.
Yeah. He directed the Pig movie, right? I'm not crazy.
The second Pig movie.
The second one.
Why didn't they do who did the first one?
Some guy.
Yeah, some guy.
Wow. So George Miller just came in and was like, you know that
I think he wrote the first one. He wrote
Yeah, he was involved somehow with it.
Okay. I thought he just randomly saw Babe in the theater and then was like, fuck, I gotta get in on this. And then just like ran to the studio and was like, let me bring the pig to the city. Okay.
The pig talks. What will they do next?
And honestly, though, that would make sense because Babe Pig in the City is way darker than the
dark, yeah.
All right, Kirk, we're gonna go to you. What is your favorite movie along this week?
I'm gonna go with an older movie. Haven't got a lot of chances to watch movies that I want to watch this week. We'll talk about that more when we talk about worst movie. But the best movie that I watched this week was Sup T and I've been just before in the show on a Godzilla kick, and this week we watched Terra of Mechagodzilla. This is the sequel to Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla, and I love Mechagodzilla. I've always just loved the concept of the big giant robot Godzilla fighting the actual Godzilla. Maybe that's the Pacific Rim fan in me. I don't know, but I love the design of the creature. Is my favorite thing about the new Godzilla versus King Kong. You know, his little cameo at the end was really awesome. So I love both these movies. We watched Godzilla versus King Kong, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla a couple weeks ago. If you can, go into both movies blind. I'm not going to spoil too much here. Watch the first one, obviously the first one first. I got a lot more enjoyment out of it because I didn't know anything going in, and there's a lot of cool, fun surprises. But this one is a lot of fun. It's Godzilla. It's Mechagodzilla. He's back from the last movie. There's a new monster involved named Titanosaurus coming out of the ocean. The bad guys are trying to control him, and just building up to this big three-way battle. And it's the last film directed by the original Godzilla director. And watching it, if I'd have known that, I never would have guessed. I thought it was a brand new director because it has like a real energy that I haven't seen all of them yet, but the Godzilla movies I've watched so far, I haven't really seen this energy. Has like a lot of new like cinematography. The fights look different and better. They're shot different ways. Just really exciting. There's a great shot of the Titanosaurus is like wrecking the city, and then you just see Mechagodzilla flying in behind them, and then Godzilla comes in to fight him. There's actually a part where Godzilla gets like blown up and like buried in this hole, and he comes out of it, and he literally does this, and it's just so much fun. I love this movie. And Mechagodzilla is just the best because he's shooting missiles, lasers all over the place. The effects are great. It's a lot of fun. So this is definitely a top tier show era Godzilla for me.
Yeah, like I said a few weeks ago, I bought that Criterion Collection Showa era Godzilla set. It's awesome. I haven't dug into it yet, but just the artwork and everything is amazing, and I'm super excited because even looking at the images of this film online here, I'm just so excited to watch these. I'm kind of waiting till I have the time to just like binge a few of them in a row. But I'm really looking forward to this, and Mechagodzilla is awesome. So yeah. Okay, Boatman, have you seen this?
No.
Scott.
Kaiju movies not really my thing, so no, sorry.
All right, and Jake.
I will profess ignorance. I will have to say I am much more familiar with Mecha Streisand than Mechagodzilla. So, but perhaps one day I will amend that.
Fair enough. All right, Jake, we're on to you. Your favorite movie along this week?
Yeah, I between work and studying for a particular match coming up, I haven't really logged anything this week specifically, but I'll go back to one of the more recent things I have logged. This is I've been on a real horror kick lately, just kind of all over the map with horror movies of varying qualities. And the one that I'm going to talk about is one that I've had on my watch list so long that I saw its remake in the theater 4 years ago before I even saw the original. So I am I am, of course, talking about the incredible 1977 Suspiria is my favorite movie that I logged this week. I think when we talk about best looking movies, like if there was like if you had to draft like best looking movies, this would be very high. Like purely from a technical visual perspective, I can't remember a movie that uses color quite like this one. Dario Argento really is able to make every frame pop with just incredible color, like very vivid color, no matter what color it may be. You just can't help but be drawn in by just how alluring the colors are in this movie, while you're also deeply unsettled at the same time, which I think is what is the really great trick of this movie, is that it looks so beautiful and yet the things that are happening are so horrifying. Like the tone, even just before even anything bad happens, even just like the very opening scene when the main character, it's fine but false. The remake is fine, but it's nowhere near as good as this. Just the opening scene when she like gets out of the airport, you just immediately like, there's no reason for Dario to go that hard with the color, just of her coming out of the airport, but he does. And then as you get into the various happenings in this dance school, the various sinister happenings that are going on, and as good as the visuals are, the score might be just as good by Goblin with assistance from the director himself, Dario Argento. Just those two things in concert just really make for just a really unforgettable viewing experience, even if some of the acting might be kind of stilted from pretty much everybody involved. I did get a kick out of seeing, I forget her first name, but the woman who plays the main dance instructor in Suspiria is the female lead in The Third Man, which is a movie I really love as well. Obviously, this is much later, like 30 years later. So that was fun. But yeah, no, this movie is just a really incredible sensory experience. And honestly, I think the thing that the remake, where I kind of am held back on the remake a little bit, I do like it. It's way too long, first of all. This movie is 1 hour and 38 minutes. That movie has no business being 2.5 hours. And it kind of is a little bit too self-important and really tries to make it like really bring in a lot more backstory that you don't really need. Honestly, the weakest scene in Suspiria is this sort of info dump that happens kind of towards about 2/3 of the way through the movie. Because that's the one scene that really doesn't pop with the colors, because it's just the main character meeting some dude in the daytime somewhere. But yeah, everything else is just really absolutely stunning to look at, absolutely stunning to listen to. And yeah, I was really, really impressed by it. Happily rewatch it.
Yeah, I've seen both versions. I watched this right before the remake came out in preparation. And I liked this one, but if I'm being completely honest, it was 4 years ago. And I was 4 years younger and didn't, I think, appreciate this maybe as much as I would today. That being said, I do like the remake as well. I probably like the remake more. Again, I've seen both of them only once, but having seen them like a week apart 4 years ago, I think I probably was I was on the hype train of Luca Guadagnino, whose name I can't say, because of Call Me by Your Name. So like I was hyped because of that more than I think the actual movie. But I remember liking this. But again, I think it deserves a rewatch because I just don't think I appreciate it as much as I would today, knowing like what I know about myself now with like the way I watch film and like the movies I like and stuff. It's just different after 4 years. So I do want to rewatch it, but I liked it when I saw it. So I'm sure I would like it even more now. Boatman, have you seen this?
I have not actually. I really want to though. I feel like if I'm gonna vibe with a horror movie, this one like just sounds like such an interesting one that I might.
Scott, what do you think?
I've only seen the remake, which I thought was great, but also I was like, I never want to watch this again because it was disturbing and intense. But maybe this would be easier to swallow. I don't know because it's shorter. But I do want to watch it obviously because it's a classic.
Yeah, the last like 30 minutes of the remake are just like
absolutely insane.
Yeah, like one of the craziest,
one of the most insane things I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah, one of the craziest things I've ever seen. But we stand Tilda. Kirk, have you seen this?
I've seen this. This is the only one I've seen. I haven't seen the remake yet. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. I just like Argento's. I haven't seen a ton of his work yet, but I just love his kind of aesthetic. And this movie really is more about. I don't think Boatman would love this. It's much more about like the sensory experience.
It's vibes,
the story.
Hardcore.
Okay, that's fair then.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like I almost describe it as like a beautiful nightmare because, like Jake said, there's a lot of horrible things going on, a lot of great kills, a lot of great body horror. But they're framed and shot, and Jay talked a lot about the color. The color is great in this, and so you're seeing all these horrible, nightmarish things, but it just looks so good. So you want to look away because of the things that are actually happening, but the way they look, you just want it to go on forever. And yeah, the score is great, but it is very much more like I said, it's you're just like it's like a sensory tank. You just go in and you're just consumed by it. And I really loved it. And usually I don't like movies like that, so I think it's just this. It was kind of like lightning in a bottle for me. I do want to see the remake though. I hear it's completely different, but I want to see that as well.
All right, cool. All right, let's move on to our least favorite movies that we logged this week. Boatman, we're going to kick it off with you.
Yeah, I didn't actually really watch anything all that bad. This one's just kind of whatever. I'm going with 1960 Sons and Lovers. This feels like if you asked someone who hates classic movies to like describe a classic movie, this feels like that. Like it has like one of the most like I feel like parodied plots ever, which is basically it's like I'm a British coal miner and my son is not good enough for coal mining, and like it's just a very like it's just kind of a lot of melodrama, but the performances I will say are actually really good. The performances here are good, but the actual story is just very like kind of basic, I feel like, and it doesn't really work. But yeah, exactly. No, I think that the performances and the cinematography kind of make this film work, but I think overall it's just kind of forgettable. Nothing really special to it.
Hey, guess what? I've never seen this. Scott, have you seen this?
Sounds like a poor man's How Green Was My Belly.
Basically, no, that's accurate. That's accurate, actually.
I haven't seen it.
Kirk, what about you?
I have not seen it. Is this based on the novel?
I don't know. Because
I read a novel called Sons and Lovers in college, and I hated it.
Is it about coal miners?
I forgot. I think I only read like half of it and just faded my way through the rest because it sucked.
Jake, what about you?
I have not seen it. It's based on a novel by D.H. Lawrence, so that's entirely possible that
you probably did read it.
You did read that in college. I have not seen this one. I know the guy who directed it did a lot of was the DP for the Powell Pressburger movies, including The Red Shoes, which is another candidate for one of the best looking movies of all time. But I have not seen this one yet. No.
Okay. Scott, let's go to you. What's your least favorite?
Okay, so we're back to 2022 movies. And I wouldn't say that I did not enjoy this movie, and I definitely wasn't bored by it. But the worst movie I've probably seen in the last couple weeks is Fall. Which I gotta admit, I'm a sucker often for these sort of like survival B movies. Like I love Crawl. I love The Shallows.
Hey, Crawl is not a B movie. That movie fucking slaps.
Well, yeah, it is, but it's a great B movie. But anyway, so I'm down for these types of movies, and that's why I went to see this. Um, it's not as smart or well executed as those movies. Those movies are also made by more experienced directors than this movie. But um, of course, the concept is that these two girls decide, or thrill seekers, basically, and they decide to climb to the top of this insanely high TV tower just for the lulz. And also, one of them, her husband has just died, and so it's like a therapeutic thing because I guess somehow that's therapeutic for some people to climb to the top of a really large TV tower. But then they get stuck up there, and so the rest of the movie is about them trying to get down. There's some crazy stuff that happens. When I say I was never bored, like the at least the director at least understands you have to like keep raising the stakes by introducing all kinds of new stuff. And there's birds that get involved, and some crazy stuff happens with the birds up there on the tower. There's some plot twists. Most of them don't work. This is a type of movie that I normally don't care about the plot, but I don't know. Some of them were just so ludicrous that I was like, okay, come on. And the actresses are, they're not that great. Like, again, Crawl, The Shallows, you had like notable people in it. Here, I think the main girl is like, she was in Shazam, right? Wasn't she like the sister in Shazam?
Yeah.
And that's about it. And her best friend, the character played by her best friend, I will say, is what I don't like her at all. I'll just put it that way.
The character, the actress,
the character. Sorry, she keeps pressuring her into doing this, and I am a severe acrophobe, so I was like, obviously already set up to fail with this. But then I was like, you are the worst kind of person about this character. But that's all I'm going to say about that. For fear of spoilers, but not that anyone cares probably about me spoiling it. But the actual like climbing up the tower, all that stuff, again, it was for me, it was pure terror because I would never go near anything like that. And I think that part of it was well done, but the rest of the movie is just it's a bit silly. And you talked about some green screen being bad earlier. The opening scene green screen in this movie, which is actually the scene of her husband dying, awful. It was like Birdemic quality, to be honest with you. It's rough.
So this is the same person who made 47 meters down, correct?
Oh, is it?
I don't know. That's what
okay. Well, if it is, that movie is dog crap. So
yeah, so
this was better than that for sure.
Okay, well that's good because I saw the preview for this. I think before Thor, and I literally went like, this looks like the type of movie I would love to hate. So I do want to watch it. It didn't play anywhere near me, so I didn't get a chance to see it. But I do want to watch it. So I do actually, when I saw you, and I think Payson maybe said something about like there's plot twists, and I was like, how do you get a plot twist out of this concept? So I do kind of want to watch it just because like you guys have like, you've piqued my interest in that way. But I will say when I used to review movies on my YouTube channel, Maggie and I would review movies together a lot. And one of the most fun I've ever had doing a review was we did a video called We Hate Moviegoers. And then in parentheses, it was 47 meters down because we walked out of 47 meters down because the moviegoers in the theater were just like so bad. And it's one of my favorite videos we've ever did. So this, I kind of wanted to see this just to see if it was just as awful as
it's better than that.
Okay, fair enough. But I do want to watch it, but I haven't seen it yet. Boatman, I heard you saw this opening night. How was it?
Absolutely. No, I haven't seen this yet, but this one doesn't sound terrible. But maybe it is.
It's just white people nonsense, really, is what the whole movie is.
I mean, isn't my whole life basically just white people nonsense?
I'm not saying whether that's a good or bad thing. I'm just saying that's what it is.
Kirk, what about you? Did you see this?
I haven't seen it. Sup T brought it to my attention the other day. He wants to watch it, so I don't know if we're going to check it out now. The thing that worries me, this sounds like a really good concept for like an 85-minute movie. And I just looked it up. It's 107 minutes.
Yeah.
That's a long
That
time to
worried
be
me.
on top of a tower.
That worried me as well. I didn't super notice it, but I don't doubt that it would have been better with 10 less minutes, which, again, the movies that I mentioned earlier all come in under 100 minutes. So,
Jake, what about you?
No, I don't have time to see like every movie that comes out in theaters. So no, I did not get to this. I gotta wait for 3,000 Years of Longing.
That's cool. All right. I'm gonna go next. I am following suit with Scott and also doing a 2022 movie. So I decided, like, I was feeling a bit I don't know what the word is, but like I kind of prided myself for many years, like 2014, honestly, even earlier, maybe 2012 through like 2019. I saw fucking everything, like good, bad, like didn't matter. And then as the years have gone on, a lot has gone to streaming, so I just miss a lot of stuff. I'm very much I would rather watch it in the theater type of guy. So I just missed a lot of movies over the last couple of years. And I was like looking at like my 2019 like ranked list is like 190 movies, which is just obscene. And then I was looking at like 2020 and 2021, and they're just like under 100 movies a piece. I'm like, man, like I gotta watch more new releases. Like I like being the new release guy. I hate being the new release guy. I've watched a lot of bad movies this week, specifically streaming movies that I had never seen. And the only reason I watched this one that I'm going to bring up is because Maggie watched it. She logged it and gave it a 2-star, but I liked the lead actor in the movie. So I said, you know what? I'm going to watch it anyway. And it is the Netflix original film, The Royal Treatment. Now, let me tell you about this movie, okay? This stars Mina Masood, a.k.a. Aladdin. I liked him in Aladdin a lot. Thought he was super charming. I want to see what he does next. He's in this Netflix movie. Here's what this movie's about. He's a prince that comes to New York to do things unexplained, I think. I don't remember. And he needs a haircut. So his butler calls a beauty salon. Well, he calls the wrong salon. He calls like a rundown salon where this Disney Channel original actress, I don't remember her name. I'm going to look it up right now so Boatman can tell me who she is. Her name is Laura Morano. Thank you.
Allie from Austin and Allie.
Where Laura Morano. So, Boatman, let me ask you, is she Italian?
She might be in real life. I don't know.
Does she have the thickest? Does she have a thick Italian accent like she's auditioning for The Godfather Part 4?
No.
Okay, because I can't do an Italian accent, so I'm not even going to try because I'd butcher it. But she's walking around here going, the pizza, you know, the whole thing.
Gabagoo.
It is so thick and laid on. Basically what happens is he goes to this girl's beauty salon, haircut place, and then ends up hiring her to come to his country to do the makeup and hair and stuff for his wedding. Well, shit gets real, and guess what? They fall in love, and then it gets rocky from there. So this was one of the most seriously unbearable things I've ever watched. And honestly, Mina Masood, I think that's how you say his name, really charming still. He's actually good in the movie, but everything else is crap. This girl that Boatman knew exactly who I was talking about was so bad in this. It was like, it was seriously just unbearable to watch. The way that I'm gonna have to find a clip from it and show you guys after the show, because literally the way she's walking around, she's like, Danny, yeah, you know, hey, we gotta go do the thing, yeah, let's go do it. I'm like, what are you doing right now? And it's fucking awful. And it has like, I honestly, romantic comedies are a top tier movie genre. I love romantic comedies. Like, Maggie and I just watched Friends with Benefits, and then we just bought No Strings Attached. We're doing the double feature, and we're gonna have a great fucking time. Like, I love these types of movies. This was my first foray into the straight to Netflix romantic comedy. Oof. I don't even know. It's just terrible. Boatman. I heard you saw this the day it dropped on Netflix. What'd you think?
Oh yeah, are you kidding me? Allie from Austin and Allie is in a movie. I'm absolute no. No. Austin and Allie wasn't even good. Like, I can't even admit that. Even at the time, I knew it wasn't good. I watched it, but at the time,
I don't even know what that is. So
it was terrible. It was boy Hannah Montana, basically.
Scott.
No. I have been there though, Tim, in terms of watching some awful Netflix rom-coms. And I've been there enough I feel like I have a decent judgment of when one is going to be okay and when one is going to be like this. So I am going to sit this one out, sorry to say, because I also didn't mind the Aladdin remake.
Kirk, what about you?
I haven't seen it. You add a Christmas tree decorating contest in there somewhere. That sounds like the plot to every Hallmark Christmas movie ever.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't seen it. My family might be into it. I wasn't, but we were a big Austin Alley household. I once drove my daughter to Columbus, Ohio to see a Ross Lynch concert. So that's how hardcore my family was. But
yikes.
I'm going to do everything I can to skip it.
Kaleb Koho was probably also there. He's a big rock. That's not even a joke.
No, I know. Jake, have you seen this?
Nah.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Let's move on. Kirk, what's your least favorite movie you logged this week?
Okay. I got knocked out of the Warzone singles tournament earlier this year. Silver lining to that was I got to watch. I had the Summer of George. I just got to watch all the movies I would have watched. Got to go back and revisit a bunch of stuff that I hadn't seen in a while. Discover a lot of new things. But that all came crashing down because somehow all of the admins know, like, oh, you haven't had a match in 3 months. Well, here's 3 matches in 3 weeks. So my fun is over, and I'm watching a lot of garbage now. So I got to decide which way I want to go with this because I've been studying a lot of different things. I think I'm going to go the Adam Sandler route, and I won't. Not necessarily the worst movie I watched, but the most disappointing and frustrating, I think. I watched Just Go With It. And I expected to, like, despise this movie. I'd seen bits and pieces because Kathy's a big fan, so I'd, like, walked it on for, and it looks like standard Adam Sandler stuff. But I sat down to watch it. And first of all, Jennifer Aniston, I've been saying this since Friends. I think she is, like, one of our most underrated comedic actresses. I think she is just, her timing and her delivery is so good and so natural. I think you take any bad rom-com from the past 20 years, pull out the female lead and plug her in, it instantly gets better. But she just has, like, she should have a much better career. I think, like, her representation just sucks because she should just be making better movies. And Adam Sandler's not bad at this either. Like, the two of them have chemistry, and I think he's funny, and we've seen him be talented. We know he can act. The problem with this movie is that it's a Happy Madison movie. So, you have, for example, the beginning starts with a flashback with Adam Sandler's character, like, kind of getting left at the altar. And for no reason whatsoever, he has this gigantic fake nose. I mean, it's not fake in the movie. It's supposed to be his real nose, but it's obviously a fake nose. And, it's like and Nick Swartz and his friend, he has, like, catastrophic acne because Happy Madison, physical abnormalities. That's funny. So the movie flashes forward. He becomes a plastic surgeon, gets the nose fixed, has no bearing on the rest of the story. Jennifer Aniston, one of her kids, his main, like, characteristic is that he goes to the bathroom a lot, and that's the joke of the movie, is that he goes to the bathroom a lot. Her daughter just is doing a British accent for some reason because Happy Madison, funny voices are funny. Nick Swartzen is, like, doing a German accent wearing thick Coke bottle glasses. You can see what I'm getting at. Like, if this wasn't a Happy Madison movie, this movie wasn't, like, marketed to the lowest common denominator, that thinks that lazy eyes are the funniest thing in the world, this would be a great rom-com. I think it has the potential to be really good, but because it has that stamp on it, it just has all that really stupid crap that you enjoy the movie for 5 or 10 minutes, and it's like, oh, fart joke, great. So it really, like, the movie was better than I thought, much better than I thought it was going to be, but it had the potential to be so much better. So it kind of frustrated me. So that's like I said, it's not the worst thing I've watched this week, but I just wish it would have been better.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of seeing this in the theater. A buddy of mine who he actually was the best man at my wedding. We went to movies a lot together in high school, and he said, "Hey Tim, let's go do a double feature tonight." And I said, "Great, you pick." And we watched this and Battle LA. We didn't talk for a few weeks after that. It was a rough night. I know I saw this. Like, I know I did. I don't remember anything about this whatsoever. I do like Jennifer Aniston a lot. Like I said earlier, I like Adam Sandler when he is trying. This is one where I don't think he is very much. And if I'm remembering correctly, but yeah, so not a movie that I'm ever going to go back to. But I just looked, and Chris is right. Is Nicole Kidman in this movie?
Yeah,
sure is.
Like a lot,
quite a bit. Yeah,
it's not a fast cameo. Like, she's a character in it.
Well, she's like the third build on Letterboxd.
She's married to Dave Matthews.
Yeah.
Not like the actual Dave Matthews. Dave Matthews playing a character.
There's a hula contest, which is judged by Dan Patrick.
This is a true
course
statement.
Dan Patrick's in it.
Yeah, oof. Jake, have you seen this?
I have. I know there's not a lot of love. There's not a lot of love for Full Metal in these parts, but back when I was involved over there, I had to watch this movie to write for Deep Cuts last year, and it was the worst movie that I watched to do Deep Cuts for. It was not.
Who the hell put that on the list?
Whoever it was, I hope that they never get to play a match again. Fuck that guy. Because this movie sucks. Like, everything Kirk said about it is true. It's like all of the worst Sandler impulses all rolled.
Of course, Joseph knows it within 5 seconds.
Of course, Joseph knows. Okay, I didn't mean to come that hard at Russell. It's just that,
he's not watching. It's fine.
I know, bro. What are you doing? Yeah. So just. He wasn't even on the roster too. That's the worst part about it. Anyway, this was a rough time. I mean, listen, I'm a straight white male, so I have to admit Brooklyn Decker, nice to look at, but she can't act, and that matters more to me, honestly, even as a straight white male. It's just rough to sit through. Just the Nick Swardson specifically, a Minnesota-born guy. So I feel like I need to go to bat for him. I just can't here with some of the shit. Doesn't he like deliver? He delivers like a pig, like a birth.
No, he saves. There's a dying sheep, and he saves
the dying sheep. That's a sheep. Yeah. That's it. Oh, right, because he like pretends to be like a sheep farmer to impress Brooklyn Decker. That's right. You bring back these bad memories for me, man. This movie sucks balls.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Oh man, Boatman, have you seen this?
No, but Kirk's saying, "Oh man, this would be a good movie if it wasn't for the Happy Madison of it all." It is a good movie without the Happy Madison of it all. It's called Cactus Flower.
That's the other thing too. Yeah, it's a remake of Cactus Flower. And it has that like 60s comedy vibe. And that's just what ticks me off is you see that potential for it to be that good, and it just sucks.
You replaced Walter Matthau with Adam Sandler. What did you think you were going to get?
Scott, have you seen this?
No. I mean, yes. Kirk, I also know watched Spanglish, which is one of the worst things that humans have made. So that would have been the correct answer. But this is also really bad. I didn't enjoy watching this. I also watched it for trivia a couple years ago. I believe I was playing Nick Twohig actually.
That
And
sounds about right. Yeah.
Yeah. I somehow suffered through this because I was like, this won't be quite as bad. This is not going to be like Billy Madison where he's doing a stupid voice the whole movie or something.
Oh,
It's
stop.
really bad.
Billy Madison's fun.
All right.
Agrees with me there.
Jake, we're on to you. Your least favorite of the week.
Yeah, so like as I mentioned earlier, I've been on a horror kick lately. Haven't really watched anything outright bad, but the movie I'm gonna, at least in the last like week and a half, 2 weeks. But the movie I'm gonna pick is fairly recent. I think it came out like 3 years ago or something. It's just kind of mediocre. I'm gonna go with Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark as my least favorite that I've logged in the sort of around this week. It's not bad. I will say the creature design is really good. There's like the characters have to deal with like various monsters that come to life because of this book that they find in like an old deserted mansion. And some of the creature designs are really, really good. In particular, there's one that's like somebody who like can kind of like contort their body. That one was particularly effective. There's the fat scarecrow at the beginning was another good one. But just it actually starts out like I kind of like it. I actually was kind of liking it at first before that whole device kind of kicked in, because I kind of liked the vibe between like the main group of friends. The main actress is actually, I saw her recently. She's in a show I really love, Only Murders in the Building. She plays Steve Martin's daughter in that show. But so she's like the main character in this. And then once they get to this house and find this book of these titular scary stories, it kind of just gets, the monsters aside, I just didn't really find myself invested in the story. Like there's some kind of like, there's sort of a mystery as to sort of how this book came to be and to have like this special power of bringing the stories literally to life. But it just didn't really grab me, which is kind of a shame because the guy who directed this movie directed Troll Hunter, which freaking rules. One of my favorite found footage horror movies. So I was kind of disappointed. And I think Guillermo del Toro was a producer on this.
Yes.
Which is why I think a lot of the creature design is the best part of the movie. But yeah, I just didn't really, the movie kind of shifts from being about this group of friends to this girl sort of developing this relationship with this guy who's like a drifter who comes into town. And he's like a mysterious loner type. And when it sort of shifts from like her and her friends to like just her and him, the movie definitely lost me because I just didn't really care about their relationship. So it's not a terrible movie. Like if you're into cool creature effects, it's worth watching, but just know you're not really going to get a lot out of it beyond that.
I haven't seen this, but I was vaguely interested in it when it came out. Tim, you're back.
Yeah, sorry, I just said it came out for a second.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, I saw this when it came out. I remember thinking that the PG-13 rating kind of held it back. I think had it
for most
horror
movies.
It probably could have really been more effective. I agree with the creature design thing. That's by far the best part of the movie. But just like some of the kills and whatnot could have been a lot more gruesome and scary. But I do think that it's it still has some really good scary moments as like a good like entry level like horror film for maybe like younger viewers, but like yeah, it never does anything overly special to set it apart from anything else. So I was mildly disappointed, but I didn't hate it. I would watch another one if they decide to make another one. So Scott, did you see this?
No, I remember when it came out. I think I almost went to see it, but yeah, I think the reviews being sort of mid just kind of turned me off of it. I'm not really interested in it anymore.
Kirk, what about you?
Yeah, I've seen it. I saw it when it came out, and honestly, I don't remember much about the story. Like, I remember basically just being like better Goosebumps. But yeah, I remember all the monsters and everything, and like set pieces were good. And I'm in the same boat with Jake. I love Troll Hunter too, and I want to see that guy have a lot of success. So I don't want to say anything too bad about it, because I want him to keep making movies. Like everybody's gonna listen to me, and I get to make I have any decision power whatsoever. But no, I definitely it definitely had that like GDT feel to it, where kind of like that like playful horror. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that's kind of what it felt like. And you could tell like there's a real love for the genre. Had a pretty good soundtrack too. That's the other thing I remember. I'd watch it again, like you said, Tim. It's good. Like if you have somebody who's like maybe like 12, 13 years old, and you want to show them a horror movie that's kind of like just dipping their toe in the water, it's probably pretty good for that.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna move on to the main topic of best actors and actresses working today. But we are gonna start with you. So why don't you give us your actor or actress, and then a film to go along with it?
Did you say me?
Yeah.
Okay, starting with me. Yeah, I think I'm going to go. You know what? I'm just gonna go with a more unpopular. Well, not an unpopular opinion, but a popular opinion. Maybe an unpopular movie choice. I think genuinely one of them, and most people would agree, one of the most interesting actors working today is Steve Carell. I think he does like so much. He's one of the funniest people around, but I really love him in dramatic roles. I think he's fantastic in dramatic roles. I'm going with The Big Short. I love him in The Big Short. I think that maybe calling that controversial, but I know a lot of people don't love that performance or even that movie. But I really like his performance in this. I think the way he's able to blend the comedic elements of the performance with also, I think his final monologue when he's like, "This isn't going to get better. Everyone's going to get screwed." I think is like so good. Or like the scene where he and Jeremy Strong are with Melissa Leo. I think that's great. I think he's just fantastic. Like in this, I really like him in Vice. I think he's hilarious and stuff like Crazy Stupid Love. I just think he's absolutely one of the best actors working today.
Yeah, I don't love this movie in particular, but I really like Steve Carell, and honestly, I need to rewatch The Big Short because I only saw it the one time in theaters and I haven't seen it since. But I also haven't liked an Adam McKay movie that's come out after this, so it's kind of hard for me to like push myself to go back. I didn't like Vice. I didn't like Don't Look Up. So, yeah, I don't know. But that's more on Adam McKay and less on Steve Carell. I really like Carell, though. This is not one that was like on my radar or like I thought about it at all. But he's turned in some really, really great performances. There's also been some unfortunate duds. Like I think Irresistible could have been really great, but it kind of fell into some really weird traps. Like it's just a kind of a mid movie. And then Welcome to Marwen is just an abomination on this planet that people hate me for on the internet. But you know what you gonna do? Everybody tweets about how Return of the King sucks sometimes. So yeah, but overall, he didn't even hear me say the what's the point of poking fun at Boatman if nobody listens to me? Or if he doesn't.
I was listening to him.
I know you heard it. But anyway, but I will say stuff like Beautiful Boy, I think is super underrated. Him and Chalamet, I think, are really good in that movie. Last Flag Flying is a Linklater movie that I think he's really, really good in. I liked Battle of the Sexes, another underrated one. Again, we don't talk about Woody Allen anymore, but I thought Cafe Society was actually pretty good. So like, you didn't like it. Okay, fair.
No,
I liked
sorry.
it. So I think he's done a lot of good dramatic stuff. And honestly, the one that I go back to all the time is Foxcatcher. I really liked Foxcatcher. And I thought that he was really, really excellent in it, as well as Ruffalo and Tatum. So, yeah, I this is a good pick. I'm into this. Scott, what do you think about Steve Carell?
Yeah, I mean, I've never been an Office person, so I don't have that attachment to him. But once you go through the list, there are definitely some solid movies and performances in there. You mentioned like Battle of the Sexes and Last Flag Flying, which I think are both pretty solid. Crazy Stupid Love, obviously he gets to show off his comedy chops. I'm not really the biggest fan of Foxcatcher or his performance there. I think it's a little over the top. But he's definitely grown on me as somebody again that I didn't really have any attachment to because I wasn't into The Office. But I definitely recognize him now as being a solid dramatic actor. Not what I would have picked, but I respect the choice.
Okay. Kirk, what about you?
Yeah, no, I think it's a good pick. Just the range is pretty fantastic when you think about, him starting off, film wise and 40-Year-Old Virgin and Anchorman, and then, where, the kind of performance he's given now. I kind of wish, I mean, he's great dramatic. He does a lot of great movies. I kind of wish he would do a little more comedy still at this point, because he is so funny. But movie, I'm surprised Boatman didn't pick, and the one I automatically think of when I think of him as dramatic actor is Little Miss Sunshine. That's the first time I watched where it was like, wow, that's not just Michael Scott. This is somebody who really has the chops. So no, I think it's a really solid pick. I think if you look back on the past 15 years or so, just who has the widest range of really fantastic movies in all different genres. He's definitely top of the list.
Jake, what about you?
Yeah, I'm realizing as people are listing off a lot of his dramatic performances, I haven't seen a lot of those, so it's kind of hard for me to judge Steve Carell as a dramatic actor because I haven't seen a single one of those other than The Big Short, which I was not a huge fan of when I saw it in the theater, but like Tim, I have not seen it since then, so maybe it's worth a revisit. But I mean, for me, Steve Carell, unlike Scott, I did watch The Office when it was on. I was a pretty regular Office watcher when it was airing, at least when he was on the show. I stopped watching when he left. But I'm more familiar with his comedic work. I mean, I absolutely love 40-Year-Old Virgin. I am cooler on Anchorman than most people, but I still enjoy it, and I enjoy him in particular. And I do love Crazy Stupid Love as well. I think it's one of the better rom-coms of the last 10, 15 years. So again, not on my radar. It makes me want to watch some of these more dramatic roles of his because I just am not familiar.
All right. Okay. Scott, let's go to you for your first pick.
Please don't do it.
He's right there on the thumbnail, so I got to do it. I'm going with Adam Driver.
Damn it!
And the movie I am picking is Patterson. Yeah, I mean, Adam Driver. We talked about this recently when we did the 2010s draft on YLS. Like, if you just go through his list of movies in the last 10 years and look at the directors that he's worked with everyone. He has worked with everyone. It's pretty crazy. Like, he has so few misses in that last 10 years worth of movies. He might have like the highest hit rate of just about anybody. But I think he's shown his versatility. Patterson obviously is a very quiet, understated movie from Jim Jarmusch. If you haven't seen this one, it's so great. It's a really, really great movie. And he shows that he can, do that more understated work. Obviously, something like Marriage Story, for example, or House of Gucci, he's doing real he's doing big stuff, but in movies that are solid and that I think call for that type of performance. He's also done comedy very successfully. Logan Lucky. I love that movie, and I think he's one of the best parts of it, if not the best part of it. And obviously he's worked with Noah Baumbach a bunch of times, so that he's kind of towing the line there between comedy and drama. And I love all the movies that he's worked with him on. He was in Black Klansman. He got nominated for an Oscar. Obviously, he was fantastic in that. He played a great villain in 2 Star Wars movies. The third one, it wasn't his fault, but he worked with Scorsese in Silence. He worked with Spielberg and Lincoln. The list goes on. Again, he's worked with everyone. He worked with the Coens. He did Inside Llewyn Davis. So he's somebody that just really has shot into the mainstream and the A-list in the last 10 years. And I think he's only going to continue to do so. He stars in the movie that I'm looking forward to the most that is left to come out in 2022, and that's White Noise. So another Baumbach film that he's going to work on, but he's also going to be in Ferrari, the Michael Mann movie that he's making about Enzo Ferrari. So, great things to come for him, and he's going to get his Oscar in the next 10 years. I feel very confident in saying.
Yeah, I love Adam Driver. This would have been my first pick. I've said it so many times, and I get a lot of shit for it, but I honestly don't care. But Kylo Ren is like my favorite Star Wars character. Like, I don't care, recency, whatever you want to say. I love The Force Awakens so much, and that character and I really, really like The Last Jedi a lot. But even something like The Rise of Skywalker, which is not a good movie, I love him in it, and I think that his arc is the best arc in that movie. And I think that comes a lot from just him being committed to the character. The Last Duel last year was one of my it was my favorite movie of the year last year, and I thought he was incredible in that. I didn't see Annette. I gotta watch it. So, but I've been told not to. But it's Adam Driver, so I do want to watch it. Honestly, the only thing that I've seen him in that I didn't like the movie, but I still liked him, was The Dead Don't Die. It wasn't a movie.
I like the movie,
but
I'm the only one.
So again, I haven't seen Patterson. I gotta watch it. Dead Don't Die is the only Jim Jarmusch movie I've seen. And so I don't know. It didn't work for me, but I do want to see Patterson. But yeah, you brought up a lot of movies that I just really love. Marriage Story, I really, really liked. Black Klansman, I love. Star Wars, I love. Logan Lucky. Silence is one of my favorite Scorsese movies. I think it is so underrated. The people that just, sit there and call it the boring religious movie I don't understand how anyone can watch that movie and think that it's boring or stupid or bad, or I don't understand. I think the movie is fucking incredible. And even something like While We're Young, which is like one of my lesser Baumbach movies, he's great in it. That's a great movie. Yeah, it's not one of I love Noah Baumbach. That's not one of my favorite ones, but he's great in it. I like Stiller more in that movie than I like Driver. But I also think that I watched this for the first time in 2020 or 2021. I don't remember, on Cody's recommendation. But I really liked him in What If with Daniel Radcliffe as like the roommate and the friend. I thought he was really funny in that. He can really do it all, like Scott said. So yeah, if I were doing this list, I probably would have picked either Silence or Marriage Story. I think those are his best performances, but I love the guy and everything. I want only the good things for him. And the other part of it too, which is not technically part of the show, but he just genuinely seems like a really, really humble, cool dude in real life too. And so that I always I'm one of those guys that if I get excited about a movie, I do watch all the interviews and press stuff too. And he just seems like somebody who actually loves what he's doing and cares about what he's doing. And so that I connect with, and I like that. So Kirk, What do you think about Adam Driver?
No, this is a solid pick. I agree with Scott. I think he's one of those ones where, over the next 10, 20 years is going to kind of be dominating movies. Patterson's a good pick because it's kind of like a showcase role. I think he's in pretty much every scene in that movie, and I think he's the complete focus. He's alone a lot of it. It's not a real showy role, there's not a whole lot, flashy stuff going on in the script, but he really does a lot with it. So I think that's a good pick. But obviously, Marriage Story is great. I think Kylo Ren he's not. If you would have told me, when you did tell me that guy, the guy from Girls, was going to be, the big bad in Star Wars movie, I was like, really? So I think it was cool just they kind of cast him against type, and he really made that character his own, and really did a lot more than I think what most actors would have done with it. I think he really, I don't know if he's my favorite Star Wars character, but I think he's probably the one with the most depth, and that comes a lot from his performance. One nobody mentioned was This Is Where I Leave You. He plays a great youngest of four in that movie. Just nails it. I didn't mention it. Yeah, he's so good in that, and I think, like you said, like he plays so many different types of people. It's not, I wouldn't say like he's not really like going in and out of genres necessarily a lot, but I think with in While We're Young, he's kind of a scumbag. So you get like just a lot of different types of people, different places in lives he's played, and he does it all so well and just makes it so real. And I agree with you, Tim. I was thinking the same thing. He's the type of guy who really just seems to embrace and love acting and really take it seriously, and really kind of like he's the kind of person to get you excited just by how much he's putting into the role, into the work.
Jake, what about you?
Outer space. That would have been my personal pick for favorite movie starring Adam Driver. But anyway, I love Adam Driver like everybody else here. Like I think most people, I discovered him on Girls, a show I did not like for various reasons, but he was easily the best thing in it. And I was like, man, I really hope this guy can get out of this mess unscathed. And he did, and then some. Pretty much all the movies that have been mentioned here are, at least of the ones I've seen, are ones I really like. Patterson is one I definitely still need to see. I've only seen Jim Jarmusch movies with the word dead in the title. So I got to fix that. And Silence also is one of my very few Scorsese blind spots I really need to fill. He's definitely somebody, as soon as I see he's attached to something, I immediately become interested, even though I'm not like, I've liked most of the Baumbach movies I've seen, but I really love Squid and the Whale. I love Francis Ha, and he's great in a very small role in Francis Ha. Scott and I could just kibitz about Francis Ha for forever. But no, he's somebody who's just he's somebody, it's like you see them in the movie and you just automatically are at the very least interested in seeing what happens. And he's working with every great director. I feel like PTA's coming. I like him and PTA. I feel like Scott and I and Tim will just have an aneurysm just thinking about it.
I would lose my friggin' mind.
I know, Boatman, you're a huge PTA guy too. So I don't know what Kirk's mileage on him is, but we are stans. So if that happens, Mazel Tov. Good pick.
Boatman.
I think he is this is a guy, I haven't seen Patterson, but I think he's great at drama, obviously, like Marriage Story and other things. He is so good at comedy. I specifically Logan Lucky, he's very funny in that. He's also super funny in What If. He is hilarious in What If. I think if anyone quotes a line from What If, it is, "I just had sex and now I get to eat nachos." It's the most memorable line from that movie. I think What If is great. I think that I think that Driver just no brainer.
Okay. Kirk, why don't we go to you next? What is your first pick?
I don't think I'm going to surprise anybody. I'm going to go with my girl Saoirse Ronan, and my movie is going to be Lady Bird. I just think she is great. I think this is another one. I think in 30 years we're going to be talking about her as one of the greatest to ever do it. From the beginning, you look at her early work like Hannah and Atonement, and she just had it. You know, like she was just somebody, even at a young age, just really knew what she was doing, and just had command over the craft and command over the screen when she was on it. You know, her current stuff, more current stuff. Lady Bird's great. Little Women. You know, she usually, smaller parts in the Wes Anderson movies, but she's always good in those. Movie like Brooklyn, where you put anybody else in that movie and it's basically completely forgettable. But I think her in that role made that movie something special, and I think that's why, it got as popular as it did, got a, its Oscar nomination and everything. And yeah, just little movies like the movie she did called Byzantium, which is a vampire movie. Just a silly little thing she did, but again, it's the one where it wouldn't be that big a deal if anything. Violet and Daisy is another movie she did where he plays kind of like a cleaner, quote unquote, a hitman, hit person. So she does a lot of smaller stuff. But I think that it makes me sad because I'm a lot older than her, so I'm not gonna probably get to see her entire film, her complete filmography. Like in 2072, she's going to get nominated for playing the plucky grandmother, best supporting actress. And I'm not going to get to see that role, and it bums me out. But I think that's the kind of career she's going to have. She's just going to just be there forever for the next 40, 50 years. I don't think she's going to slow down. She's going to be like Streep level of, master of everything she does. Yeah. And I love, she's got, what's the one coming out? I think this month.
See How They Run.
See How They Run. I saw she
like created in a lab for Boatman. I feel
with Rockwell, right?
That one. Yes, I keep forgetting the title, which I don't know why, because that is going to be probably my favorite movie of the year.
I haven't seen the trailer for it yet, but it comes out the same weekend that Cody's actually coming to Milwaukee, and I was like, should we go see this random like Sam Rockwell, Saoirse Ronan movie? And he's like, I don't know.
I watched the first 30 seconds of the trailer and shut it off because I realized I saw all I needed to see.
But no, I'm super excited about that. Another movie I want to very underseen, but Mary Queen of Scots, she's fantastic in that too.
Yeah, I really like that.
She's just killer. I love her so much. I get so excited every time she's in a movie. So yeah, this is definitely gonna be my number one pick.
Yeah, great pick. She's fantastic. I know Scott will go deep into this one, but I maybe not deep into it, but I do. My favorite performance of hers is Little Women. I think she's beyond excellent in that movie. That's one of those movies. And Lady Bird honestly was the same way, where I saw it right when it came out, and I was like, yeah, that was good. She was good. And then when I rewatched it at home, I was like, man, I didn't give this movie the love it deserved. And that's kind of how I feel about both of them. Like both Lady Bird and Little Women are excellent. But yeah, I saw Hannah in the last couple of years. That movie is awesome. Like super underrated movie. She is just like every time she's on screen, she's fantastic. Some of those that you brought up, I've never seen, Kirk. So I'm interested in I got a deep dive maybe a little bit into some that I haven't seen, but yeah, this is an excellent choice. Jake, what about you?
Yeah, also agree. Excellent pick. And I probably would have also picked Lady Bird because Lady Bird, I think, is. I mean, like, I can't even say enough good things about Lady Bird. It's a masterpiece. But yeah, she is somebody who I think. I feel like it would be. I'm really interested to see what she does going forward. I'm actually really excited that she's going to be in like a more of like a straight comedy in See How They Run, because I think that's one thing she hasn't done as much, like outside of Lady Bird. Because even Lady Bird, as funny as Lady Bird is, I think there's definitely a lot of it. It's a really great balance of like comedy and just like real emotional resonance. But I think a movie like Atonement, which was kind of her breakout, I'm kind of mixed on the movie overall, but I think the strongest part of Atonement is when she's in it. Like the movie does not work at all if you don't have a young actress as gifted as Saoirse Ronan is in playing somebody who is just so despicable. Like, just what she does is just so despicable but because she's just such an interesting actress, yes, you realize that it's terrible, but you're also like, okay, she's giving this some layers that I think 98% of actresses wouldn't. I think this is also a fantastic pick. I haven't seen a lot of the movies that Kirk mentioned, but I think the greatest hits I have, and she's terrific in all of them.
Boatman.
Yeah, no, echo everything everyone else says. For me personally, I think my personal favorite performance of hers is Little Women. I think she is a really good Jo, but she's not my favorite Jo. Katharine Hepburn exists, but she's a great Jo. She is really good in Lady Bird. I think that was the first. That's not actually. Yeah, I think that might have been the first movie I saw of her, and I did not realize that she was not American. So yeah.
Boatman, if Katharine Hepburn was working today, she would have made my list.
That's fair.
And also, that's the other thing, how good she is with accents. When you watch Brooklyn, and I don't even know if Brooklyn is actually her real accent, but when you hear her talk, she has like a brogue. Like, she is like very Irish. And the fact that she get anywhere close to the accent she does is amazing.
All right, Scott.
Yeah, a terrible pick, Kirk. I can't believe you picked this, but no, I won't. People know how I feel, but I do think she also has kind of the Michael Jordan effect of like making everyone else around her better. Some of it is Greta Gerwig if you talk about like Lady Bird and Little Women, for example. But like some of the scenes, like Little Women, I think the best scene that Emma Watson is in is the scene where she's with Saoirse Ronan on the day of her wedding. And like, she has a great scene with Chris Cooper after Beth has passed away. And obviously in Lady Bird, she gets like all-time performances out of, well, again, it's not just her who's doing it, but you get all-time performances out of Laurie Metcalf and Tracy Letts in that movie. And, the scenes that they share together are so perfect. And it's impressive to see that at such a young age. I think she's helping to bring the best out of more experienced performers who are around her. So,
all right, Jake, we're going to you.
Okay, I was really worried Scott was going to take my pick. I'm taking somebody else on the thumbnail. I'm taking the other Little Women actress. I am taking Florence Pugh.
I love this shirt.
Consternation. But I'm not picking Little Women. Because she's more of a supporting character. I am picking another fantastic 2019 movie, Midsommar. Yeah, we can just leave Kirk out of this. I actually first became aware of Florence Pugh through television. She starred in, I believe it was 2018. Park Chan-wook, the director of Oldboy, directed a miniseries adaptation of John le Carré's Little Drummer Girl, which is really good. It also has Michael Shannon, who could have also made my list here, and Alexander Skarsgård. It's like she plays a struggling actress who gets caught up in this international espionage plot. And it's really good. And then after that, I was like, okay, she was really good in this Little Drummer Girl series. She's in Ari Aster's next movie. I loved Hereditary. I'm curious to see what she does in Midsommar. And man, there's really nobody, I think, that I know Kirk makes fun of her face, which is outrageous to me because I think she has one of the most interesting and most expressive faces I've seen in an actress in forever. She can literally do anything. I think she is the way Kirk talks about Saoirse Ronan is how I feel about Florence Pugh. I just think that just the gamut that she runs in Midsommar is just like Ari Aster is a sadistic fuck because he really puts his female leads through the emotional ringer and gets incredible performances out of both of them. I think just the whole like, yeah. And then Little Women, you see just the complete opposite of what she does in Midsommar, and she does it at an equally high level. Just Amy is just, I think Amy is the hardest character in Little Women because she's so unlikable at the beginning of the movie. She's just kind of a spoiled brat, and she's just kind of a nag on Joe in the beginning of the movie. And then you see her grow up and become this more sophisticated, just not just like in her manner, but just like emotionally more sophisticated. And I think that's a huge tribute to Florence Pugh. And then like, even like, and we talk about like something where she is the best thing about something that's not great. I'm not a huge Black Widow fan, but she is easily the standout of Black Widow. And for me, honestly, if the MCU going forward was just her and Haley Steinfeld on their adventures, I would be 100 times more interested in the MCU than I currently am. Because she's just that good. She's just that magnetic. Like just showing off that movie star charisma after sort of showing her like acting chops in these other more character-based roles, and then just this star wattage at this such a high level in Black Widow. And then I'm really, really excited for, I know there's been some controversy about the movie.
Some.
More than some, but I'm still very excited about Don't Worry, Darling because of her. Like, she is the reason, more than Olivia Wilde, more than that asshole Harry Styles. I don't give a fuck about. Though I did make a lot of money off of Harry Styles a couple years ago, so it's fine. But anyway, I worked this concert for like 2 weeks. But anyway, yeah. I think she's just somebody who, I think she has the street potential to, and Kirk probably is wanting to disembowel himself with every word that comes out of my mouth. But I think she has the street potential. She is the person, when I see she is in a movie, I am there. And as if that wasn't enough, as if I didn't like her enough, she finally broke up with Zach Braff. And it's like, thank God.
They broke up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Date someone closer to your own age, Florence, please. I beg you. Doesn't have to be me, but just somebody closer to our age.
We lost Anya Taylor-Joy, but we got Florence Pugh back.
Yes.
I'm not sure. There's been no more confirmation of that. That's all I'll say when it comes to Anya.
That's all that hope.
You haven't found anything in her dumpster?
Not recently, at least.
Fair enough. And then one more thing, like just other stuff that she has coming up. She's starting to work with kind of like the top tier directors. Like she's going to be in Oppenheimer. She's going to be in, as if I wasn't excited enough already about Dune Part 2. Then I heard that Florence Pugh is going to be Princess Irulan in Dune Part 2. And I was like, Jesus Christ, can I get this movie tomorrow?
Yeah, right.
Like I need this movie in my eyeballs ASAP. So yeah. Team Flo over here. I know that's probably weird to say out loud, but we stand Florence in this house.
I am very excited for Dune Part 2. I'm glad you brought that up. Oppenheimer, I didn't realize she was going to be in that. She's
literally like 70% of Hollywood is in Oppenheimer, to be fair.
That's fair. She's also voicing Goldilocks, I believe, in the upcoming Puss in Boots.
The Last Wish.
So she's joining the fandom world again. Now we can write a filmography question about her. Here we go. So anyway, yeah, I'm with you on Black Widow. I think it's not a great movie, but she's great in it. I liked her when she showed up in Hawkeye. I thought she was good in that.
Kate Bishop.
And then what'd you say?
Kate Bishop.
Yeah. And then I did like her in Little Women. Once I got past the fact that she was playing like a 7-year-old, I was like, okay, I can get past this. Yeah, whatever. But the one that you didn't bring up that I really like is Fighting with My Family. I really liked that movie because I wasn't expecting anything and I didn't really know who she was at the time. And I believe that was also 2019. Like she just had
That was the first of her first big movie in 2019 that she was in.
I thought she was also really good in Outlaw King. Like she's not in much of it, and it's kind of like a mid movie, but I think she's good. Yeah, she's good in it. And I never saw Lady Macbeth, but I remember seeing the previews for that.
She's really, really good. Yeah, I
revisited
that later.
Or was that her
debut? That was like her first big breakout.
Yeah,
I didn't see it until after I'd seen like Midsommar and Little Women.
Yeah.
But yeah, really good in that too.
But yeah, I really liked Fighting with My Family. I gotta be honest. I hate Midsummer. I hate it even more when people call it Midsommar. I know that's what, like, I get it, and I'm just being facetious, but I don't love the movie. And I've been on record. I didn't love Hereditary, but I respect a lot of Hereditary. Like I think Toni Collette is like amazing in the movie, but the movie just doesn't work for me overall. Midsummer was one that I sat there and I was like, wow, she's great. I don't give a fuck about anything else happening in this movie. Like the movie does not work for me at all, but I think she's fantastic. And yeah, so Ari Aster is just not my director, and that's fine. Like that's okay. But I think she's great. One might say that she's better than John Cazale when it comes to being an actor or actress. But Kirk can speak more to that. Kirk, let's hear what your thoughts.
Oh boy.
See, I was gonna be nice, and then you had to go and say something like something nonsense like that.
I didn't say that I thought it. I said one might say.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say that, and I picked Florence Pugh.
I won't rant too much. I won't rant on Jake's Parade, but I mean, Midsommar is good in spite of her. Justice for Jack Reynor. He did absolutely nothing wrong in that movie.
Jesus.
Black Widow. You get the Boris and Natasha accent.
See how it goes if you forget Kathy's birthday this year. Kirk. See how that goes.
The Boris and Natasha accent in Black Widow got old quick. Yeah, it's not her fault that she got cast as a child in Little Women, but it's kind of embarrassing to watch her try. And she did a great job advertising WWE and the WWE commercial that was Fighting with My Family. And Dune has a lot of flat, emotionless characters in it, so I'm sure she'll fit right in there.
Dune is fucking ass.
That was funny.
That's all I gotta say on that.
Oh, that was funny. Boatman.
I don't know how to follow that. I like Pugh. I think she's really good in Little Women. I'm not quite on like the giant Florence Pugh hype train that everyone else is yet. At least I think she's really good. I'm not on like the hype train that everyone else seems to be on though. But I think she's solid.
Scott.
Yeah, I mean, like 2019, those three movies, it was like an insane. At the end of the year after watching Little Women, I was like, well, I didn't know who this person was before this year, and now I think it's like one of my 4 or 5 favorite actresses. So it was a crazy, God mode run that she had in 2019. I mean, I think she's the best performance in Little Women. Midsommar, she's incredible in. That first scene or that beginning segment where she finds out that her sister has died or has done the murder-suicide, basically. The crying that she has on the couch when she's like with Jack Reynor, that is some of the most like realistic. Like it sounds like her like throat is about to like come out of her body, like how hard she is crying in that scene. And obviously the way they use that sound in the movie is brilliant. But yeah, that's really powerful, and I can't wait to see her directorial debut with "Don't Worry, Darling." So yeah, that should be fun.
All right, I'm gonna go next. This was actually tough for me because there's a lot of actors and actresses where like I really like them, but then they don't have like the filmography to like back it up. Like somebody like, which I don't want, actually, I'm not going to say who, but there was one that I'm like, I might go with a second pick. And then I like looked at their filmography and I was like, wow, I like half of your movies, but I love you in like all of them. So it's super weird. So I went with somebody first that I actually, most of everything that I've seen of him, I actually really like, save for like one that I can think of, but I'm going with Andrew Garfield and I'm picking Silence, because like I said before, I think Silence is just an incredible Martin Scorsese movie that is super underseen or just maybe misunderstood. I don't know, but it's one of the few movies where I can like admit is like it's so hard to watch, but I could watch it endlessly, like over and over again. Like it is super like hard. There are parts of it that are hard to get through, but I just like get so wrapped up in the story. And I think this is probably Andrew Garfield's best performance, in my opinion. The one that I'm like not huge on is Tick, Tick, Boom. Like I think he's great in the movie. I didn't love the movie, but I think he's very good in it. But his run recently, I haven't seen Under the Banner of Heaven yet, which I know is a TV show, but like I've heard that it's really, really great. There's someone else in that who's like,
there's a lot of people in it.
Wyatt
Russell's in it. Yeah.
There's like an actress,
Daisy Edgar
Jones. That's who. Yeah. I wanted to watch it honestly because of her too. So, I hear he's very good in that, but I know this is an unpopular opinion. He's not my favorite one, so calm down, everybody. He's actually my third favorite one, but I really like him as Spider-Man. Like, I don't love his movies, but I love him as Spider-Man. And actually, I take that back. I do love the first Amazing Spider-Man movie. Like, that's probably unpopular, but I do love that movie. It's kind of a guilty pleasure almost at this point. The second one's bad, but I love him in the movie, and I love him. And I thought he was great in No Way Home when he came back. I thought that the way they were able to kind of pick up with him and make it feel almost like they were finishing an arc that he never got to, I really, really enjoyed. But like I said, that 2016 like religious Andrew Garfield double feature of Hacksaw Ridge and Silence, I really loved. I loved Hacksaw Ridge as well. Both of those were my number. They were my number 2 and number 3 movies of the year. Silence, and then Hacksaw Ridge. I really liked him in Hacksaw Ridge as well. But then even one that's more underseen, like 99 Homes, I think he's really good in that. Going up against help me, somebody,
Michael Shannon.
Michael Shannon, thank you.
Yeah.
All I can think of is General Zod. I'm like, help me, somebody.
That's how you think of Michael Shannon.
It's the first thing that came to mind. I think of him as the drug dealer from The Night Before.
There you go. Much better.
You know what? That's fair.
I thought that movie was really interesting, and he was really good in that. And then obviously The Social Network is great. I also just watched, I had never seen this before, and I'm doing like a Tom Cruise watch right now. So I watched Robert Redford's film, Lion, I think it's Lions for Lambs or Lion for Lambs or something like that.
Sorry, I just fell asleep just when you were saying the title of it.
Yeah. Not a good movie. I had no idea he was in it. And I thought he was good for what he was given in an early role of his. Again, it's not a great movie, but him kind of just sitting there with Robert Redford talking about like politics and stuff like that, I thought it was interesting. I thought it was his part of the story was kind of was the one that I actually cared about. And a lot of that had to do with him and Robert Redford being very charismatic with each other. So he's just an actor that I think, again, like Adam Driver, I'm always going to go to immediately if they're in something, I want to watch it. And I think, like Scott was saying, that he thinks that Adam Driver is going to have an Oscar in the next few years, which I agree with. I think Andrew Garfield is right there as well. I know he's talked about taking a break for a while. Great, do it, but come back and keep going. I also forgot. Didn't love the movie as well, but he's amazing in it. I thought he was really good in Eyes of Tammy Faye. Nobody should have won an Oscar from that movie, but but he's very good in it. And also, I love you, Jessica Chastain, but sorry, you should not have won that Oscar. Okay, Boatman, Andrew Garfield, yay or nay?
Yeah, no, Andrew Garfield rocks. I really like him in Tick, Tick, Boom, but Silence would be my pick. I think he is, like, phenomenal in it. I remember I said that, like, Tick, Tick, Boom was the favorite performance from Andrew Garfield I had seen, and you, Tim, specifically were like, and then I was like, well, I haven't seen Silence, and you were like, fair. Now I've seen Silence, and Silence is my pick, because he is, like, so freaking good in that. He should have not. He was not only nominated for the wrong movie that year, he should have won, but for Silence. Yeah.
Who won that year?
That was Casey Affleck.
Oh, I like that performance a lot. But anyway.
No, I do too, but I think Garfield is better.
No, I agree with you at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I wasn't saying anything bad about Casey Affleck. I'm just saying that Garfield's my win.
Hey, I mean, let's take it easy on Casey Affleck, guys.
No, I mean, yeah, as a person, maybe not, but in that movie, I like that movie a lot. Okay, Scott.
Yeah, Social Network, obviously, he's probably the best performance. And then he had a long period there where, like, he wasn't doing anything that I was really that interested by. I didn't like him as Spider-Man. Sorry. And then I watched him in Under the Silver Lake. And I was like,
that's
whoa.
like one of his big ones that I've never seen.
Yeah.
I need to watch it.
I would never have expected that he had that performance in him, but he's like very kooky, and like the way he runs around in that movie is funny. Like he's perfect for like the off-kilter tone of that movie, which I do love. And then I was like, okay, I'm back in on this guy. And then I really liked him in Tick, Tick, Boom. Obviously, he had a nice comeback in Spider-Man. He was, good in No Way Home. And then I did watch Under the Banner of Heaven, which is fine. The series is pretty good, but he's definitely the best part of it. Like, he gives a really, really intense performance as like this devout Mormon guy who suddenly gets, his faith called into question by this crime that he's investigating. So I recommend watching the show for his performance alone. And Wyatt Russell's also really good. But yeah, I definitely hold him in much higher regard now than I would have probably 5 years ago. So it's a good pick.
Cool. Kirk?
Yeah, no, I think it's a solid pick. I didn't love him as Spider-Man. I didn't enjoy those movies. I didn't think he was necessarily great in the role. But I think he's come off that really well. And I do think he was the best, like you said, wrapping up that arc. That was probably the best moment in No Way Home. I think that was his best performance as Spider-Man. But I think he just come so far. Silence is, I think we underestimate, like you said, Tim, people say that movie, they're wrong, but they say the movie is too long, it's boring, whatever. It very well could be if he's not doing so much heavy lifting in that role. I mean, he is asked to do so much in that movie, and he makes it work. Without that performance, this movie, might crumble under the weight of it. But I think he's so good in it. Under the Silver Lake is a movie I didn't love, but he's really good in it. Tick, Tick, Boom I didn't like, but I don't blame him for it. I think it's just the character more than it is. I think most actors in that role probably would do the same thing he did with it, and I wouldn't have liked it. I did like him not as Tenny Faye. And yeah, Hacksaw Ridge is really good too. That's just a really another solid performance. So I think he's just putting out, like, it's like one of those things, like, I don't even think Spider-Man at all when I think of him anymore. Like, he's completely moved on past that. And that's hard for somebody like that to do. So kudos to him.
Yeah. Jake, you haven't talked. Yeah, Jake, you need to talk about it.
Yeah, big fan, really good pick. I probably would have been a basic bitch and gone with Social Network.
I mean, it's really close for me, honestly.
Like, I also have not, as we established earlier, I have not seen Silence, and now the repeated Silence mentions that, like, I need to watch that, like, ASAP. But yeah, Social Network, he's great. I kind of have the same opinion on Kirk about Under the Silver Lake, though I feel like it's one I need to revisit because there's just so much going on in there. But he's fantastic in Under the Silver Lake. And I think I was one of the people who liked Tick, Tick, Boom. And I think it was mostly because of him. I will be the turd in a punch bowl when it comes to Hacksaw Ridge, though. I was not a huge fan. of Hacksaw Ridge, though I think it's also just because of who I am. It just was never going to be a movie that connected with me.
That's fair.
So I also, another movie that I think is really good that he's good in that nobody's mentioned is Never Let Me Go. There's a really interesting sort of soft sci-fi movie. I think Carey Mulligan is the best performance in it, but because she's Carey Mulligan. But he's also very good in that too. And yeah, I feel like I haven't seen as much of his stuff as I think. I've seen Spider-Man. I think it was kind of interesting. Like, I think he was a really good Spider-Man. The movies are not good, but he's really like a really good choice to be Spider-Man, and he's really good as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Just not as Peter Parker.
I 100% agree with that. 100%.
Like, he just looked like, if people thought Tobey Maguire looked too old to be Peter Parker in the Raimi movies, like, double down on that with Andrew Garfield and the Amazing Spider-Man movies. Like, him being a high schooler is absurd. So yeah, but no, I'm really interested to see what he does next whenever he comes back from this break. He's never at least not interesting.
All right.
Like,
I believe we're back to Boatman.
Yeah, for my final pick, I think one of the most interesting actresses working today and probably just successful is Emma Stone. I think she's phenomenal. I think if I had to pinpoint my favorite performance of hers, though, I'd go with The Favorite. I think her performance in The Favorite is so layered. She's my favorite part of The Favorite. I don't get me wrong, I love Rachel Weisz. I love Olivia Colman. I think she's the best part of The Favorite. I think she's so, like, just, this is like probably the most like manipulative that Emma Stone's ever been, and I think she's like so good in this. But I like her in just about everything she's been in lately. Like, she's great in La La Land. I really like her in Battle of the Sexes. Like, most people I don't think people saw that movie. I thought she was phenomenal in that. I really liked her in that. Yeah, no, I think she's just one of like the most entertaining actresses. She was also like really great in Cruella. Like, that's a throwaway pulpy role, but I think she was really good in that. So yeah, no, I think Emma Stone is like fantastic.
Scott, what do you think?
Yeah, definitely a fan. I might have gone with La La Land because I like the movie a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, she cut her teeth on comedy stuff like early on with Zombieland and Easy A and Crazy Stupid Love, which I think she's great in. But obviously has grown into the dramatic stuff. I mean, I think she's great in Birdman. Like, I think she goes toe to toe for sure with some of the heavy hitters who were in that cast. And then, yeah, I had a really fun time with Cruella too, and I'm sure that I wouldn't have if a different actress had been involved. I mean, I liked what Craig Gillespie did as well, but still, I think she is a big selling point for that movie. So definitely a solid pick. I'm always interested to see what she does because I think she's proven herself in all different types of movies.
Kirk.
Yeah, no, I think she's good. Scott mentioned her early stuff like Superbad, Zombieland. I know, like, there's just a natural progression to a career, especially when you're as talented as she is. But I honestly kind of miss that stage of her career. I think she was so good in that. Like, I think she's one of the best parts of Superbad. She's great in her doing those early comedies. Crazy Stupid Love. I mean, it's a great cast overall, but I think if you put somebody else in her role and Gosling's role, I think that movie is not nearly as good. I think she is just a saving grace. A lot of that early stuff she did, but obviously the newer stuff. I think she's just such. I don't know even how to describe it. Like, she's such a unique personality. She has certain affectations in the way she acts that that don't feel put on. It just feels like kind of who she is. And I'm not saying like she's playing the same character every time, but the way she carries herself, the way she talks, just something really unique about her, just really kind of, captivating. Even in movies like, I didn't love La La Land. I thought it was all right. I was in love, but just her personality in that movie, and again, her with Gossett again, they have really good chemistry. I think just that movie would not have been any good, even though neither of them are fantastic singers. I think just from this point of the acting and the relationship, you take her out of it, and that movie really drops in quality. And I think that goes for a lot of the stuff she's in. So, yeah, another one I think is going to be around for a long time and done a lot of great stuff.
But their chemistry was so good in Gangster Squad, right? Jake, what do you think about Emma Stone?
I'm glad Kirk brought up Superbad. Otherwise, I would have had a fucking stroke. Because I mean, Superbad just means so much to me, and just like in so many ways. And I think even just talking about Superbad, I think her performance in it, like that is a throwaway character. It's just like the object of Jonah Hill's character's affection, but she just brings so much life and so much personality to it in a way that I think most actresses wouldn't have. And I think that just immediately my antenna went up, like, oh, this person is somebody who, like, I'm curious what they do next. And then she just followed it up by just killing it again in a high school role with Easy A, which like is completely propelled by her charisma. As great as Patricia Clarkson and Stanley Tucci are as her parents, and they really are great. That movie lives and dies with just her charisma. And I think that's just something that she's shown off repeatedly in roles, both comedic and dramatic. And it's good that Boatman did pick The Favorite, because that was something for me I did not really expect out of her, that kind of role. And I think she's just equally adept at that. And I want to see more stuff like that. I know she's in Yorgos's next movie. So really excited to see that collaboration again. So yeah, I think that's a really, really strong pick.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, I think she's really great. I always like it when she shows up, and even when they came back and did Zombieland Double Tap, I thought she was good in the movie. It's not as good as the first one, but she brings a lot of that energy back. And we've talked about Crazy Stupid Love now a couple times, and I think that movie is fantastic. This is not my favorite of the Yorgos movies, but that I've seen, I should say. But I do really like the movie, and I thought she was really good in it. So yeah, great pick. All right, Scott, let's go to you for your next pick.
Okay, I'm gonna pick who's probably my favorite actress at the moment. I'm going with Jessie Buckley, and the movie I'm gonna choose is Wild Rose, which was the first movie I saw her in. Also, didn't even know she was. I mean, she had done a couple movies before it, but nothing big. And then, I mean, that movie is the whole package of, acting, obviously, like a incredibly powerful performance in what could be a paint by the numbers, inspirational music film, but it's so much more because of her. And her singing is unbelievable as well, because I mean, that is her singing. I have the soundtrack on vinyl, and I listen to it all the time because her voice is so great singing those classic country songs. And so instantly I was hooked from that. And then 2020 she does I'm Thinking of Ending Things. Both of those movies, Wild Rose and I'm Thinking of Ending Things, I think she could have been nominated for an Oscar, should have been. And with I'm Thinking of Ending Things, she does like the double role, really. She's playing like multiple different sides of the same character, just because of the way that movie is. And I am always impressed when an actor can do like those kind of double role type things. It's one of the things I love. Again, when an actor can do that, it's like one of my, whatever the opposite of a pet peeve is. I love when actors do that. But and then she finally got her Oscar recognition from doing The Lost Daughter last year, which is a movie that I think, although it got a lot of Oscar nominations, deserved more attention because I thought it was excellent, and she's definitely really good in it. And then this year she did Men, which I didn't really like, but I do think she was really good in it. She's going to be in Sarah Pauli's new movie, Women Talking, which I'm very excited for, coming out in just a couple of months. And another one who I think is definitely going to, now that she's broken the seal and gotten her first Oscar nomination, I definitely think she is, the win is going to be somewhere in the not so distant future for her. And she will deserve it because I've not seen her in anything where she wasn't probably the best part of it. So,
Kirk, what about you?
I think she's good. I want to see more. I saw Wild Rose on Scott's recommendation, and I've seen Thinking of Any Things. I didn't see Lost Star yet, and I haven't seen Men. I'm not going to say she's like Florence Pugh level of overrated, but I'm not yet seeing what Scott is seeing. I'm not saying that she's bad or she's not good to watch. Like when I watched Wild Rose, I thought it was good, but it wasn't anything like, it didn't blow me away. I think she definitely has the potential. She could get there. Like I said, I just want to see more.
Jake, what about you?
Yeah, I really like this pick. Like I think some of the other people that have been mentioned. I first noticed her in TV. She was in Tom Hardy's Vanity Project, Taboo, that I watched. She played kind of like a small, but she really popped in the role that she was in. I was like, oh, okay, this person's interesting. Like if I see them in something else, I'll be like, oh, it's that person. And then trying to think what was the next thing I saw her in. Oh, I think it might have actually the next TV thing I watched with her, and it was Fargo. I believe it was season 3 of Fargo. She was in, and she was really good as like a kind of like a sort of sinister nurse in like period Minnesota. But then I did see Wild Rose, and I mean, I'm not as big a stan as Scott, but I was really impressed by it. I think, that's kind of like, that's like the real like calling card sort of role that you can get. Like if you can really nail it, that's sort of like, it shows everything you can do. And the ending still just makes me a blubbering mess every time I watch it, like just on YouTube. If I need a good cry, I'll watch that. But then, yeah, I also really liked her in I'm Thinking of Ending Things and Men. I was pretty mixed on Men, but I think she really held the screen really well and she was really good. I just want her to be in like Wild Rose is like a music movie. I want her to be in like a full-on musical because I think she has that kind of talent where she can have something built around her. A musical built around her, whether she stars in something original or like an adaptation of something. I think that will get her another Oscar nomination after The Lost Daughter, which I feel like I need to watch again because I didn't watch it under the best of circumstances. I liked it, but I feel like I would like it more on a second viewing. But she did pop as well. Like her and Olivia Colman are just both amazing and could have easily been picked for anybody's list.
And Dakota Johnson.
Yeah, it is the 50 Shades. I still kind of hold that against her. But great and Cha-Cha real smooth though. No, really, really solid pick. Definitely like a projection pick, but like I think pretty can't miss.
And I also just realized that I put Justice Buckley on the screen and nobody's saying so. Justice, this is one where like, I gotta wait to see more. And when I say that, I mean I really, really like her. I'm not fully behind all the movies yet. I did watch Wild Rose also on Scott's recommendation and really liked it. I thought it was really good, and I thought she was really excellent in it. She's my favorite part of The Lost Daughter. I didn't love that movie, but I thought she was excellent in it, like really, really good in it. And I've talked about it on this show a few times now. I really didn't like Men. I actually just rewatched it on Sunday with Maggie, and I disliked it even more the second time. So but I think she's good in the movie. So it's one of those things of like, I really like her, but I need to see more that I like love the movie as well, because I'm thinking of ending things. It's not a Tim movie at all, so I did not dig that. I haven't watched Chernobyl, so I don't know how big of a role she has.
So good.
But I
Yeah, I
hear
need to watch it.
I hear the show's amazing. I don't know how
It
much of
is.
it she's in, but I would assume she's good if she's there. And then she was apparently in The Courier, which I saw. I don't remember her in that movie. I remember Cumberbatch being good in that movie, but I don't remember her in it at all. So, and let's not forget that she was in the Doolittle movie with Robert Downey Jr. So
She was.
let's not forget that. But again, an actress I really, really like, and when she shows up, I get excited. But I just need to see something that I really, really love. Boatman.
Yeah, I think she's good in I'm thinking of ending things and The Lost Daughter. I haven't seen a ton of her. She was my favorite part of The Lost Daughter. So I wasn't big on that movie though, but I think she was the best part of it. I'm interested to see what she does next.
Okay, great. We are on to Kirk, I believe.
Okay. I'm going to go with a pick I think is kind of under the radar because this actor is really underutilized. I'm going to go with John Bernthal.
Hell yeah.
The movie I'll pick is Wolf of Wall Street. But if you're not familiar with John Bernthal, he is the guy who is in 5 minutes of pretty much every movie you've ever seen.
Yep.
If I had a nickel for every time I went, oh, cool, John Bernthal's and he's dead, I'd be a wealthy man. I honestly, I'm not exaggerating. I honestly think this is the guy. He could be the next De Niro if he got the chance to actually be that leading man. Everything whenever he shows up on screen, like Wolf of Wall Street, he's great. He plays that drug dealer. He's the sell me this pen guy.
What? We
What's
got
that?
chicken or what, Ma?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just so great in that. In Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, he plays like the cool teacher. He's terrifying in Fury. It's almost a joke at the point by the time you get to Peanut Butter Falcon. He plays Shia's brother, who had died before the movie starts.
Yeah,
and he's in like 30 seconds of flashbacks.
Right.
And I'm like, you're doing it on purpose at this point. But yeah, I think the one movie I've seen is Ford versus Ferrari is the one movie where he has like an actual role. It's pretty much a straight role, which is he doesn't play a lot of, but I think he's great in that. But yeah, Baby Driver, he's really great in that opening scene of Baby Driver that just disappears. And Punisher, I know it's TV, but he's without a doubt, in my opinion, the absolute best thing about the Netflix MCU stuff. He is so good in that role. Just perfect for it. So yeah, I want to see him do more and like not just more quantity of movies, but be in movies more. Because I think he is got like serious leading man potential and could really go far if given the opportunity.
An underrated movie that I think, again, not a great, fantastic movie is, but I think I enjoy it, is The Accountant with Ben Affleck. He plays the villain in that, and I think he's really fun in that movie. Kirk, you just nailed it on the head though. Like, I love John Bernthal, and I remember when I really started to realize that, oh no, he's getting shoved into these roles was the double dick punch of him in Sicario and then in him in Wind River.
Wind River, yeah.
Was like Wind River especially because he's so good in like the 5 minutes he's in.
Yeah. He steals the show every time.
Yeah, and even something like again, I don't want to talk about the rest of the movie, but I thought he was really, really good in King Richard. Like, he's my favorite part of King Richard. I thought he was really excellent in it. He was in that Netflix movie with Sandra Bullock. What was that called?
Bird Box?
Bird Box?
No. There was another. It came out last year. It was definitely like an Oscar bait movie where she went to prison and then she came out.
No, not the
Unforgivable or something.
Yes,
yeah, something like that.
Unforgiven or not, The Unforgiven or Unforgivable, something like that.
The Unforgiven, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
He was good in that, and again in a small role, but he's so good in everything, and I will eternally think of him as in Wolf of Wall Street with the supply and demand motherfucker.
Yeah.
Just like it's so good. His scene with Jonah Hill in that movie is great. He's just excellent from beginning to end, all 5 minutes. I forgot about the Peanut Butter Falcon thing until you just said it, because that was one of my favorite movies of 2019.
That's a great movie.
And I remember seeing his name on the cast list and being like, hell yes. And then he just is gone. And I'm like, no, what are we doing here? Yeah, he's great. I wish I would have thought of this. But yeah, you're right too about Ford v Ferrari. He is playing like a straight man type character, but I love him in that movie.
Yeah.
And he honestly plays a similar character to an extent, like a straight man type of thing in King Richard. But I really he just has this like good guy charisma in like both of those movies that I think really, really works. And then can also be the most terrifying villain or anti-hero. Like he can really do it all. And he is a guy that I wish would just like I feel like we haven't even given him the chance to be like the leading guy in the movie yet. Like there are guys where like you can say like, oh, we've given them a shot, we've tried and it hasn't worked, but they're great, but we've given it. I feel like we haven't given John Bernthal the shot yet. And I don't know what that looks like or what that movie would be, but I think he could do it. So yeah, great pick. Jake, what do you think?
Yeah, it's funny you were talking about like the way John Bernthal is utilized in a lot of stuff. Like another very recent example where it's the exact same thing is the show The Bear.
Oh, he's in that.
Yeah, he plays the main character's brother who died before the events of the show, and you see him in like flashbacks. So it's like the same thing. It just I think is funny. No, I really like this pick too. It wasn't even on my radar because like for me, John Bernthal, I know him mostly from TV. Like I think a lot of people. I think I loved his work on television. You mentioned The Punisher. Yeah, like that is just such a hard character to get right, especially today, like with the way things are in the world. And I think that he just brings he's a really great humanity, but also just like you do not fuck with this dude. And like he does that in like kind of every movie. Like he's just somebody who seems really like intimidating, but then also just so charming. Like he can just turn it on instantly, just be like this really charming, magnanimous guy, but then also just be someone you'd be terrified of. And there really aren't a lot of actors like that. And it's like I feel like John Bernthal would have been I think John Bernthal came along like 40 years too late. Cause I think he would have been like a mega star in the 70s. Like every director in the 70s would have like wanted him in their movie. Like, I just think he's just that sort of actor. But I still love seeing him in like everything that I see him in. Like, yeah, Wolf of Wall Street. I mean, he pops in Wolf of Wall Street. It's just interesting that that's kind of the movie you have to go to because he's not in it much. And that's kind of like, it's interesting. Like he is a character actor, like with leading man talent. But like kind of like, I hate to really like group him in, but like somebody who he was with Brad Pitt. Like, I think that he's not as like conventionally pretty as Brad Pitt is, but I think the same idea where it's like Brad Pitt sensibilities are kind of that of more of a character actor. He just happens to look like Brad Pitt. But I think John Bernthal has that kind of ability too. And just that sort of charisma. And like, yeah, I just love seeing him whenever he pops up in anything. Though, I mean, I don't know if I'll watch the American Gigolo series that's coming out, but like that's him front and center.
That's right.
He's the guy. So this is like the time where he is the guy. So that's kind of as close as we're gonna get, I think, for a while.
Yeah, I forgot that he was gonna be in that. I was gonna also bring up before we go to the next person too. On the Taylor Sheridan thing of like Sicario and Wind River, he did have a bigger role in Those Who Wish Me Dead. The movie's not great, but he's good in the movie. I mean, again, it's the lesser of the Taylor Sheridan.
That's probably true. Yeah.
Directed movies. Like I like Wind River, Sicario, Hell or High Water. Like all of those movies are better, but he's really, really good in the movie. So, Boatman, what do you think about John Bernthal?
He's good. I feel like he's one of those guys that, like, outside of Wolf of Wall Street, maybe I just haven't seen enough. For me, he's one of those guys who, like, I feel like can do more, but he hasn't, like, wowed me yet. Though I will say I haven't seen some of the movies that you're talking about. Like, I've never seen Wind River, so like that could be part of it. Yeah,
you gotta watch that movie, Boat.
It's like Wolf of Wall Street, which he is fantastic, and he hasn't like wowed me yet, but I definitely believe that he can.
Boat, you gotta watch Wind River, buddy.
That's right.
It is, that movie's awesome. Scott, we're going to you. What
I mean, I don't have too much to add, I guess. I do think, he's a fun character actor. I always enjoy seeing him popping. I forgot he was in Widows until I was looking at his IMDb.
Oh, yeah.
Which I love that movie. I'm not sure I see the same, like, De Niro, Brad Pitt type thing that we're talking about here as far as the leading man. But, to everyone's point, maybe that's just because he hasn't been given the opportunities yet. So, the door is cracked to that possibility, but I don't know if I'm there yet.
Okay. All right. So we are on to Jake.
Okay, yeah. So I'm also going to pick somebody who I really first came to my attention from television, and I think he's easily the best part of the show that I am thinking of. And I think as he's gotten into movies, I think pretty much every time out, he is easily the best part of whatever movie he is in. I am picking Brian Tyree Henry, and the movie that I'm going to pick is If Beale Street Could Talk. So for like most people, Brian Tyree Henry first came to my attention on Atlanta, which is one of the most incredible shows I've ever seen. And I think he really can do it all on that show as Paperboy. Like, he just can absolutely destroy you with like a side eye glare. And it's always really funny. Like, there's an episode in season 1 in particular where he's part of like a fake, it's like a black talk show. Like, it was like about like black issues and stuff. And it just is so off the wall and so hilarious. And just his exasperation with everything that's going on around him is just comedy gold. And then he gets another showcase episode in season 2 that's the complete opposite end of the spectrum, where it's just like really incredible dramatic work, where he's like goes through a walk in the woods and he's like mourning the loss of his mother, and it's just really affecting, moving stuff. And then he got into movies, and like the other one that I was thinking of for this was Into the Spider-Verse, because he's really, really great as Miles's father in Into the Spider-Verse. That scene where he's outside Miles's door, it's just, oh God, it just gets me every time. It's just like an all-time great dad moment. And I really I love the movie overall. It's my favorite Spider-Man movie. And I think he actually really adds to it in a way that like he makes that character really work. Like, he could just be like the nagging dad who's just annoying and like always, but he really gives him such an incredible humanity. And then my pick, If Beale Street Could Talk, was my favorite movie of 2018. I think it's just so gorgeous. Just the composition. Barry Jenkins is just like, he's a god among men to me. But he's only in one scene in If Beale Street Could Talk, but it's the best scene in the movie for me, where it's just him talking to the main character, like they're best friends. I believe it's a flashback scene. Yeah, and he's just so natural, so engaging. Yeah, I can never take my eyes off of him. And then Scott mentioned Widows. I was almost going to go with somebody else from Widows. Daniel Kaluuya would have been
I thought about it.
He might be the best thing in Widows, but Brian Tyree Henry is close. He plays kind of like you could say he's kind of the villain, like a villain in the movie. Obviously Daniel Kaluuya is more of his enforcer, but he's really good in that too. And then even in stuff that I don't love, like he really pops in. He's easily the best thing about Eternals, which is the movie's whatever. I think he's easily the best part of it. And then most recently, a movie I liked but didn't love, but Brian Tyree Henry, easily the best part of Bullet Train to me. I just think he was so funny, so charismatic. I never failed to laugh at the Thomas the Tank Engine gag. It was so good. And he manages to, like, I think I was not the hugest Aaron Taylor Johnson fan, but Brian Tyree Henry brings the best out of him, I think, in that movie. And their chemistry is so good. I think that dynamic is the thing that I like the most about Bullet Train. And yeah, he's just like, I think he is like the A+ character actor now. Like, if I need somebody interesting in my movie that's maybe not necessarily the lead, but somebody who will always make it better, he's the dude for me.
Yeah. I love If Beale Street Could Talk. It was in my top 10 of the year in 2018, right? 2018 is when it came out, right? Yeah, that sounds right. I really, really liked the movie. And I agree. I think his scene is awesome. And he's one of those actors where, like, I haven't watched Atlanta, so I don't know how he is on that, but I can only imagine he's fantastic, because literally everything I've seen him in, I've enjoyed him. Bullet Train, I thought him and Aaron Taylor Johnson were the best part of the movie for sure. Even like he's in like one scene in Joker, and he's fucking great in that one scene.
Fuck that movie.
Yeah, he was in 1 minute of Joker. Not even one scene. He was in 1 minute of Joker, where he's like the records clerk or whatever. Pissed me off.
I hope they paid him good money for that trash.
All right. Well, I love Joker, but anyway, I can't wait to get to my next pick and hear everybody bitch about. Anyway, but yeah, I like him and everything, and I again, you mentioned the thing about Eternals, about him being the best part, and it's hard for me to disagree, because there's not like a ton about the movie to cling on to. I have a personal favorite from that movie, but nobody else wants to, and I don't need Scott to tell me about why the MCU is trash, so we don't need to go on that too long. But I do really like Brian Tyree Henry. I want to see him in more stuff. I think Jake kind of nailed it on the head, though, about him being like the A+ character actor right now. Like, he's really, really great in everything. And I read one review about Bullet Train that was like, I would watch an entire spinoff of him and Aaron Taylor Johnson. Yeah, like, I would watch that movie. That sounds awesome. So yeah, Boatman, what do you think about Brian Tyree Henry?
Yeah, no, we haven't talked about it very much, but to me, like, the performance that kind of brought everything together for me was Bullet Train. I think he is like so fun in Bullet Train. I think he's fantastic in Bullet Train. He was my favorite part of that movie. Yeah. But I really like him in Beale Street. I think that he was good in that. I've liked him in pretty much everything, but for me, Bullet Train was like the movie where it all came together. It was like, you know what, this guy rules.
Scott?
So I got really excited about him after 2018, after Widows and If Beale Street Could Talk. And then I kind of agree with what Garth said about him deserving better in Godzilla versus I feel like that pretty much any movie he's been in since 2018, I feel like he's deserved better because either he's gotten the shaft with the size of his role, or he's had a decent role, but in a movie that I don't think is very good, like Eternals, for example. Or, I mean, I'm not going to harp on it because I know everyone here likes it, but I didn't really like Bullet Train that much. But I think I think he's a phenomenal actor, and I'm really curious about this movie with Jennifer Lawrence that he's doing, which has been in the works for a little bit. That is going to be coming out fairly soon, I think, because that has some potential right there. I think it's an A24 film actually, but
Yes, it is.
but yeah, unfortunately, I just feel like he hasn't followed up yet on the potential that he showed from 2018. Not necessarily because of him, but just the project. A lot of the projects that he's chosen have not panned out.
Kirk.
I love this pick. This is a name that when we were, this topic came up, this is the name I was thinking about. The only reason why I crossed him off the list is because I don't think I've seen enough of his stuff to really, talk about it in depth. But I think he's great. Beale Street, he carves his own little piece out of that movie, which is hard to do because there are so many great scenes and so many great performances. And when he shows up, he just completely makes it his own. And after everybody who's already been in that movie, everything that's already happened in that movie, for him to be able to come in and do that is really impressive. I loved Bullet Train. I thought it was a really good movie. I think he was one of the best parts about it. His character is written as, it's not written poorly, but it's basically like a parody of like an over-the-top action type character, and it could very easily fall like into that Deadpool range of surfacely funny but nothing else there. And also the character has like this kind of really ridiculous affectation that he does. I won't spoil for me, I haven't seen it, it's not a big deal, but he just does something like it's hard for the actor to pull off, put it that way. He does. So I think he's really great in that. And Widows, I thought he was good playing off Daniel Kaluuya in that. Eternals, I think, is mediocre to actively bad, but he's honestly the only thing I even remember about that movie when I think back on it. So, I really want to see more of his stuff. He's a guy I get excited whenever he's in a movie because I know, whatever part he has is going to be solid.
Okay. All right, we're going to go to my final pick, and mine is again, I could have gone a lot of different ways. I ended up going with someone who's been around for a while, but is still very actively working, and who is another guy that just like if he's in something, I'm going to watch it, and I'm probably going to like him in it, and that's the Ruffs, Mr. Ruffalo, and The Spotlight is the movie that I'm picking. What'd you think I was going to pick?
No, I was just saying that pick speaks to me.
No, I thought you were saying like, "Ooh," like you thought I was gonna go a different way. No, Ruffalo is a guy that like the first time I consciously remember seeing him in something was Collateral, and I remember just being like, "This dude is kind of cool." And then like as I keep going through the filmography, and then I saw 13 going on 30, it was like, oh, okay.
Hell yeah.
Mark Ruffalo. And then, you keep going through the filmography, and obviously like Zodiac is one of my all-time favorite crime movies. I think he's fantastic in it. I really I actually haven't seen The Brothers Bloom yet, but Boatman recommended it to me, so I bought it. I just haven't watched it yet. But I've heard good things about that. I really like him in Shutter Island. I think he is really good as like this opposite Leo. And again, I don't want to spoil it. I think everybody pretty much knows what happens, but I don't want to spoil it in case you're watching and you haven't and you don't know. But when you rewatch the movie, I think Ruffalo's performance is only enhanced. Like when you kind of realize what's actually going on, there's just a lot there. Another movie I think not enough people have seen is The Kids Are All Right. And I really, really like him in that movie, where it's basically, I think it's Annette Bening and Julianne Moore are moms that Their kids are Mia, whoever was whose name I can't say, and is it
Josh Hutcherson?
It's
Right?
Josh Hutcherson, yeah.
I was about to say the Hunger Games boy. I've been out of fandom for almost a year, guys. And they Ruffalo is their sperm donor, and they like go to meet him, and that he's kind of put into their thrust into their lives and everything. And I think it's just a really good like adult drama with some comedic moments that's he's really, really great in. And then obviously like I love the MCU. It's just like a big part of my life, and I love him in it. I love him as Bruce Banner, especially when we get to Ragnarok and the Infinity War and Endgame. I love him. And also I love that he can do something like Spotlight, where we've talked about Spotlight on this show a lot, where he can have like, it's kind of a meme at this point, but the Mark Ruffalo like slamming papers on a desk and yelling things movie, but like he's so good at it. And we can get a movie like this, and then in the same breath we can get a movie like Now You See Me, which is fucking ridiculous, but it's awesome. And he's like a cop, or he works for the FBI or something, and he's chasing down magic magicians, and he's awesome at it. And even in the sequel, like he came back for a sequel to Now You See Me, and it's terrible, but he's great. He's just an actor that I really, really admire. And another one that I don't think a lot of people have seen, and it's not like a incredible movie, but I think the lead performances are really good, is this little movie called Infinitely Polar Bear. And if you haven't seen it, him and Zoe Saldana play parents in it. And it's really, really good. It's a short movie. It's like an hour and 25 minutes or something like that. It's a good like family drama where he plays a dad with bipolar disorder, and it's interesting. It's an interesting movie. So I would check that one out. And then even some of the newer stuff like Dark Waters, I think is really good. I haven't seen the Adam Project yet. I know he's in that, but I'm not into that director. Very sorry, Boatman. I'm not into the director of the Adam Project very much. Because isn't it the Cheaper by the Dozen guy? I think
Sean Levy, yeah.
Yeah. But I will watch it. I do want to watch it. I just haven't seen it yet. And I haven't seen his HBO show where he has like plays dual roles. I don't remember what it's called, but that came out like last year or the year before.
I know this much is true.
Yeah. So I do want to watch that, but I haven't watched that yet. But like I said, I mean, between him being Bruce Banner and then all of the other just fantastic work that he does while doing it. I talked about it earlier, Foxcatcher. I think he's really, really good in Foxcatcher as well. To me, he's a guy that never really misses. There's a couple movies that sure, I don't love the movies, but he's fantastic. And I really like him, like I said, as Bruce Banner and as like all these other roles that he can pull off really well. So yeah. Boatman.
Yeah, no, you kind of said everything that could be said, but yeah, I think that Ruffalo's great. Spotlight specifically, he is fantastic. I also really like him in Kids Are All Right. He's really good in that too. He's super entertaining. Yeah.
Scott.
Yeah, I mean, he's my second favorite actor, so I definitely thought about him for this.
Behind T. Cruz?
Yes.
Nice.
For this list, but I think because he is so deep into the MCU now at this point, even doing like She-Hulk, I'm just like I'm hesitant to pick him. But I will say I appreciate that he, even while he was doing the MCU, he was doing Begin Again, he was doing Spotlight, he was doing Dark Waters. He found time to do these other movies. That is all I ask of these really good actors who join the MCU or some big franchise. Just do one for everyone. Do one for me every now and then. That's all I ask. And he was doing that. Now I hope he continues to do that. We'll see. But actually, I think is he not going to be in the Yorgos movie as well? I think maybe he is.
I believe so. Yeah,
I believe he is. Poor things. Yeah, he's going to be in that. So there's one. There's an example. So yeah, I absolutely love Mark Ruffalo. I have absolutely no problems with his pick. You know, he's been in several of my favorite movies of all time, and he's one of the main reasons why they are my favorite movies of all time. And watch Dark Waters.
Yeah, he's good in that. Kirk.
Yeah, we were in some chat. Me and Scott are in a key. I forget how it came up, but Scott started talking about him as his favorite, one of his favorite actors, and kind of started simping over him. And I'm like, he's just not a guy that's ever moved the needle for me. I don't think he's bad, but I've never been like, oh, I'm really excited to see this new Mark Ruffalo movie. You know, I mean, if it's a movie I want to see, I'll go see it. If I don't want to see it, I'm not going to see it because of him. Like I said, he's been fine. Like I've never been like, ugh, Mark Ruffalo. What's that one he did with the Ghost one? He did with Reese Witherspoon. That was pretty bad.
Just Like Heaven.
Oh yeah,
That movie's fun.
That was pretty rough.
You can count on me.
But yeah, I think he's okay as Bruce Banner, and I hate how people like dump on Edward Norton, and like without realizing how much of an easier job Ruffalo has as part of the Avengers and not having to carry his own movie. I think I get even with Hulk. I think he's as good as the script. I don't think Hulk was good, and I didn't like him in the whole thing in Infinity War. I don't think he handled that well. But like I said, I mean, I'm never going to. And I think he's a guy who's capable of every once in a while giving like that spotlight type of nominated performance. But to me, he's not somebody who's going to be like, a top tier long. And I mean, he's been around long enough now. He's not a young guy. He's pretty established, and I think he is what he is at this point. For me, he's there and he's fine. And if it's a movie I want to see with Mark Ruffalo, cool. If not, I'll probably go see something else.
I will say, I forgot to mention that I don't think I've ever been more disappointed watching the Oscars than when I heard "and your winner" and the winner
Mark
Oscars, Mark Rylance. I will never forget. Me and Maggie both were like,
because Sylvester Stallone should have won. Is that what you disappointed?
Yeah.
Trust me, I actually bought Creed on 4K today, but I love that fucking movie and that performance. But no, Ruffalo should have won. Jake, your take on the Ruffs?
Yeah, I like Mark Ruffalo. I'm not going to go out of my way. Like if Mark Ruffalo is involved in a movie, I'm not going to be like, oh, I got to see that. But if he's like surrounded by other like good people, like a good director, then like, yeah, I'm always happy to see Mark Ruffalo. I mean, I'm glad that you brought up, I'm glad people are bringing up The Kids Are All Right. Cause I think that might be my favorite performance of his, just because he's just so charismatic. Like, and he's just like, he's like actually like kind of sexy in that movie. And like, that's not something I ever would have expected from Mark Ruffalo. So like, I think that was I was really impressed by that. And then like, a lot of the movies that you mentioned, I mean, I don't need to say anything else about how great Zodiac is, or Collateral. No, he's somebody I like, but he's not somebody I'm going to like go out of my way for, like my picks or some of the other people's picks that have happened tonight. I was actually scared you were going to pick Joaquin Phoenix and specifically pick him in Joker. That was where I thought you were going before.
No, the reason I said that
recognize me and Scott.
The reason I made that comment during the Brian Tyree thing was because I knew I was picking Ruffalo, and I was like, the MCU and Scott's Twitter makes me sad, and like just like all that stuff. But yeah, okay. So that's our list. Guys, the 8 of you watching, stick around. We're going to talk about Assault on Precinct 13 for the last time, but then we are going to announce what the upcoming topics for the rest of the month are. So please stick around so we can give you that. I know one might tickle Scott's fancy for sure. So let's talk about Assault on Precinct 13. So Scott, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, so funnily enough, I watched this I think at the end of last month, and like 1 or 2 days after I watched it, the poll dropped for movie of the month, and it like immediately started winning, and I was like, oh, that's convenient because I just watched it. It's great. My best friend who doesn't see a lot of older movies watched it in theaters at the New York Film Festival, actually, I think last year. And he thought it was incredible. So I was like, I got to watch it if even he, really liked it. And yeah, it's just like a great grimy 70s thriller. John Carpenter, obviously, he knows how to make an efficient movie. The Thing, obviously, is an amazing example. Like all of his movies are super efficient. Like he does so much in the exact amount of time that is needed. I was surprised how sort of mean the movie gets at times. Like the shooting of the kid at the outside the ice cream truck was terrifying. Honestly, I was surprised that he went there. But it's fun. Like, it is a little bit of like a Rio Bravo style. Like, oh, we're just hanging out in the police station, like waiting for the action to go down. And obviously, Rio Bravo is one of my favorite movies. It doesn't have the vibes of Rio Bravo, but it as an more actiony version of that. It's really good. And obviously it is one of those movies where as soon as the opening credits start and you hear the first notes of the score, it's like, okay, you already know it's going to be good just because I feel the same way about Top Gun Maverick, honestly. Like just the intro now with like the music starting, I'm like, let's go. And I feel the same way about this, just that dun 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 dun, dun. Like I'm like, all right, let's do this. John Carpenter messed me up. So it was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I've watched several John Carpenter movies this year for the first time, and I get the hype.
What would you give this, Scott, out of 5?
4.5.
Awesome. Okay. Kirk, what about you?
Yeah, I like this movie a lot. I think I love the 70s. And this is the reason. This kind of movie is the reason why I love the 70s, because in no other decade would this movie get made besides the 70s. It's just such a great, like. I bet it could have been an 80s canon movie. I mean,
there was a remake.
I was about to say it could have been a 2000s remake.
Yeah, but I mean, was it this movie really?
No.
But yeah, it's just like such a great blend of like different, like it has like Scott said, like that Western aspect, has like a real like horror, like survival horror kind of feel to it, as well as being like just like 70s violent exploitation crime movie. And I just love the fact, like I'm looking at it on Letterboxd right now, and when you go down to crew, before you scroll over, it's just all John Carpenter's pictures 4 times. Director, editor, composer, writer. Like it's his fingerprints are all over it. It's just so I love that kind of like not necessarily control, but just that connection he has personally in that movie. And like Scott said, just the surprise violence of just when you see that kid in that situation, like, okay, how's the kid going to get out of it, and how's that going to affect the rest of the movie? And it's like, oh no, they're just shot, and that's it. Yeah. And then the thing I love about it is, most action movies, one of my biggest pet peeves with action movies is when a character gets killed and then someone who loved that character is like sad for 5 seconds. And then 10 minutes later, they're like firing off one-liners like nothing happened. Like, I just love, like, the girl gets died, and like her dad spends the majority of the rest of the movie like curled up in the fetal position, just laying there. I think that's just such a great touch, because you never see that movie, especially like a ultra violent movie like this. You never see that. But the gang is great. I just love how just for no reason how insane they are. Especially like in the third act, where they basically become zombies. Like they're storming the police precinct with no sense of self-preservation, just walking to a hell bullet so the next guy can get through. So it gets kind of crazy. It goes off the wheels there. But no, this is great. I'm not a big I'm more of a fan of this kind of Carpenter than I am like his straight horror. But yeah, this is a good movie. I gave it 3.5.
Okay. And Jake, what about you?
So I didn't watch it for this because I just been so busy with just like work and other trivia. I just couldn't fit it in. But I've seen it probably like a decade ago, because I love Rio Bravo. I think Rio Bravo is like one of the best Westerns I've ever seen. And I was like, holy crap, John Carpenter basically did a remake of it. Hell yeah, let's go. And then I don't remember a lot about it, but the thing that does stick in my mind is the music. Just like John Carpenter doing his sort of electronic thing that he does that just is so propulsive. Yeah, that part is what sticks out to me, and just like the atmosphere of like just being able to accomplish so much on such a low budget. Like, I can't imagine this movie cost like this movie probably costs like 12 cents or whatever. But like, especially considering some of like the other stuff you would do later. But yeah, I remember really liking it. It's one I did want to rewatch it. I just like could not find the time for the life of. So I apologize. I don't know if I'm really qualified to give it a rating because it's been long since I've seen it. So
no, that's fair.
I should probably abstain out of fairness.
Yeah.
I would like to revisit it though, because I like Carpenter a lot, especially that whole 10-year run that he had from this to Big Trouble in Little China is untouchable.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the last time we're going to talk about Assault on Precinct 13, but we do have the poll up. It's pinned on the Facebook page. So go vote there. That poll is going to close tomorrow night. When YLS ends, the poll is closed. That just makes it easy for me to be able to get when the movie, and it's not that it's pretty close actually. I think the good, the bad, and the ugly is winning, but there was something in second.
Rosemary's Baby was up there. Yeah.
Which one was?
Rosemary's Baby, I think. Was
up there. Okay, yeah. So so there's still room to vote and everything. So go ahead and vote on the poll. Upcoming next month, I'm going to make a post tomorrow so people can start to sign up. Next week we're doing best original song winners, so an Oscars episode for best original song. The week after, this is the Macaws edition. Maggie came up with this topic, although she said she would not be on the show. So whatever. We're going to do best courtroom movies. This could be courtroom, just like scenes, movies, whatever, like however you want to break it down. But courtroom movies is the topic. Then the following week after that, I'm going to be off, but Boatman is going to be hosting Guilty Pleasures Volume 2. So if you didn't make it on the last one, I'm not going to count if you've commented on the last post. I don't remember, and I'm not scrolling back. But a fucking ton of you commented saying you wanted to be on it. So we're doing it again, and it'll be a completely new panel. So it'll be Boatman and 3 people. So it'll be a smaller panel, but that way the panel can get more picks, and Guilty Pleasures Volume 2. And then the week after that, Boatman is gone and I will be hosting, and we're going to do over-the-top action movies, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. I think we're gonna have a good time with that one, picking some bullshit.
My first pick is Over the Top.
Is what?
Over the Top.
Over the Top.
It's fair. So
Feel like a truck.
So those are the topics again. Best original song winners, courtroom movies, Guilty Pleasures Volume 2 with Boatman, and then over the top action movies with me. I'll make that post tomorrow, and then you guys can comment about if you want to be on or not. But that is going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank Boatman, Scott, Kirk, and Jake for being on officially the longest episode of Logged It by 6 minutes. We are 6 minutes over the longest episode, and guess what? The longest episode before this, best directors working today. So
I'm so hungry.
When we talk about people working today, apparently we go for a long time. But I enjoyed the discussion, so thank you to the panel. This was a really fun episode. So we'll see you guys next week with that original song winners, or was it just song winners? I don't fucking know. Oscars next week, song winners. We'll see you then. Have a great night. Thank you, guys. Bye.
In case I don't see you. Good afternoon, good evening, good evening.